Are you sick of my face yet? Because we got 3 seasons left, and I'm not done till it's done. Hello, my name is Haley Whipjack, and I am about at my limit. I mean, I'm here to take you through season 5 of Once Upon a Time. No one thought I would or could commit to this bit as hard as I have, but we're going to finish it. And we're going to finish this season come hell or high water. And we're going to look cute while we do it. I had to do something cute and femme this video. My other looks for this season are decidedly not this energy. But I have to do something for Camelot. These spoilers. By the way, we're getting Camelot. Look how cute I am, though. And if I see a single Fiona from Shrek or Alicent House of the Dragon comment, I'm beating you to it. I said it first, it doesn't count anymore. Once Upon a Time Season 5, once again, comes in 2 parts, 2 distinct story arcs. The first of which, yes, being Camelot, except it's actually known as the Dark Swan arc. That's a lot more important than the fact that Camelot is involved. And the second arc being the Underworld plot. Don't think about it too hard yet. Or ever. Maybe that's probably better for your brain. If you wish you could have gotten into all of this with me before everyone else, you should have been on my Patreon. Get all the videos early and get an extra video every single month. We're having fun over there. Before we get started in earnest, let's remind ourselves how our family tree stands. And stand it does. Nothing has changed from the last time I showed you this at the end of season 4 on account of how we've seen no more show since then. But I will remind you, I do have Zelena on there, and I don't have her unborn child or the person that she tricked into having that unborn child with on the board yet, because I'm pretending that didn't happen and isn't about to happen for as long as I can. Other than that, it's all pretty standard. There's still a bitch named Jonathan up there in the corner who I don't like. King George is haunting around. Neil Nolan, the baby, is here to just make me mad. I don't think he's had another purpose in the show yet. Basically, it's still the same Wreath we know and love. Moving on. I am excited to go through this one with you. I feel like I had almost no knowledge of it before I watched it that came through osmosis, right? Seasons 1, 2, and 3, just being on the internet, being on Tumblr, the years that I was, I knew a lot of the things about seasons 1, 2, and 3. Season 4, yes, I knew there was a Frozen arc. I feel like it's one of the few things that everybody knows about Once Upon a Time is that there was a Frozen arc. Season 5, going in blind. Absolutely going in dark because of how everybody gave up on the show after the Frozen arc. That's right. But season 5 is an adventure all its own. We're going to get through the Dark Swan, which is an arc that a lot of people genuinely love. We're going to walk backwards through Hell, which is an arc of Once Upon a Time. And we're going to look great while we do it. We're just going to have to be a little bit brave. Onwards! Fit check! As you can see, I'm evil now. This is indicated by my dark hooded robes. That's really all you need to be able to tell, didn't you know? Also, I moved. Welcome to the new space. I did move the whiteboard fully intact, exactly as is. I couldn't risk losing all these layers that I have developed. And Hermes is still pretty mad about the whole relocation thing. So if we don't see much of him, I'm so sorry. Lark is hanging out though. I can't wait to talk about the Dark Swan arc with you. A lot of people have been continually telling me how much they like the Dark Swan arc. And let me just say, I am so happy for them. I'm so happy for them that they liked the Dark Swan arc. And you can all be so happy for me when I talk about how much I like the next arc, okay? Because nobody else seems to. Before we get into it and catch up with all our heroes, let's have a quick word from our sponsor. We all play Dungeons and Dragons here. Unless, if you've always wanted to get into D&D, but you don't want to be the one to take the plunge and create and run a game for you and all your friends, I have the perfect thing for you. Made by folks I love and trust, look no further than StartPlaying.Games. StartPlaying.Games offers you a way to learn to play D&D with one-shots specifically designed for people in your situation. Run by professional game masters who know exactly how to ease you into it. Fill out their short and easy survey with your level of experience and preferred date and time, and you've already done it. You can even go in as a group and bring those friends who also didn't want to run a session without ever having to play the game first. Or if you've never been able to find a group who wants to sit and play D&D, now you don't have to. They'll do that part for you. Dungeons & Dragons is one of my favorite things in the entire world, and I would hate for the size of it to scare anyone away. StartPlaying.games is fast, it's affordable, it is made of wonderful people who you can literally read reviews on to make sure that they're exactly right for you. It's everything you could ask for. So start playing games today with StartPlaying.games. Back to the fairy tales! And we're back. It's time to jump into a beautiful fantasy land, the kind you've always dreamed of being a part of. The beautiful fantasy land of Minnesota. We open to baby Emma Swan, maybe like 7 years old, seeing The Sword in the Stone in a movie theater. She steals candy from a lady and then is approached by an ominous man telling her, don't. But he doesn't mean don't steal the candy bar. He means don't pull Excalibur from the stone when you're an adult. Emma, he knows her name, and tells her Excalibur is real and that she's going to see it. And then he vanishes. We're going to put this man on the board. We're going to talk about him a whole bunch later. And I've decided that I'm going to cover somebody up that I do believe is dead. I believe is dead, and I don't think we're ever going to get confirmation either way, but I just kind of know it in my soul. Rest in peace, Prince Philip. Probably. And then we whoosh right from Minnesota into Camelot. Did I say this was the Dark Swan arc? What I should have said is this is the Camelot arc. Technically, it is the Dark Swan arc. We have Dark One, Emma Swan, but so much of it is just about Camelot. And ask me if I care about Camelot. We see the day that King Arthur and his friend Lancelot and their friend Percival that nobody cares about found Excalibur, and they extract the sword from the stone, the real one, not the one that Charming faked to try and make Snow feel better about herself. Was that last season? We'll put Arthur over Elsa, and we'll put Lancelot over Anna. It is the same Lancelot that died in season 2 with all the Korra nonsense. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but like also kind of we'll get to it in a minute. I'm not ready. When King Arthur pulls Excalibur from the stone, he discovers that part of it is missing. The last 5 inches or so, longer than that. The last end of the sword is gone. The sword is straight, and then it starts to kind of wiggle and then cuts off. But that wave pattern is very familiar. And the filigree pattern on it is very familiar. 4 minutes into the season, the show is telling us that the Dark One dagger, that Dark One dagger, has been part of Excalibur the whole time. And that's very important for the rest of the season. So now that we know that, let's go back to Storybrooke. In our beautiful modern Storybrooke, everyone is where we left them, in the middle of the street where Emma vanished, you'll recall, after she absorbed all the darkness in order to save Regina. Her parents are there, Regina, Robin Hood, Henry, just sort of standing in the middle of the street. Emma's boyfriend, Captain Hook, is also there, and he picks up the Dark One dagger that was left behind to try to summon himself a Dark One, but it doesn't work because Emma is not on this world, which means the summoning doesn't work. And I thought that that also meant that she wasn't connected to the Dark One dagger anymore. I feel like that was addressed in season 3. Because Rumpelstiltskin brought the dagger with him to Neverland. Team Good Guy, minus Emma, who's not here, goes to speak to the apprentice, Merlin's apprentice, the sorcerer's apprentice, who tells them that Emma went to where all darkness is from, by which he means the Enchanted Forest, I guess home of evil. And I thought these people were mean to Maine. The apprentice also gives them Merlin's old light magic wand, a very powerful wand that needs a very powerful magic user to wield it. And that magic user must be versed both in light magic and in dark magic. And then the apprentice just dies. I guess he was just that old. It's because he got attacked by the darkness at the end of the last season by the man in the arms. So they've got this super powerful wand, and it's powerful enough to open them a portal to another dimension. You'll notice every single season we are discovering new ways that portals can be opened to other dimensions, and Rumpelstiltskin's entire life work becomes less and less meaningful with every passing episode. But they can't use the wand Because they don't have a magic user for it. Because Regina has gone too soft. She's not dark enough anymore. We need a real wicked bitch to use this wand. Please don't bring Zelina into the plan. Please don't bring Zelina into the plan. Please don't bring Zelina into the plan. They bring Zelina into the plan. Regina, Robin, and Hook go to visit her in Super Jail, where she immediately starts harassing Robin Hood, man whose child she is carrying against his will.
My child, and mine alone. I'm doing all the work. You were just unwilling pawn in its creation.
Quite unwilling.
If it makes you feel any better, I didn't enjoy it. You know, I'm not sure what you see in him.
If I could, I would delete both of these characters from the show just to avoid this plotline. And I adore one of these characters. Zelina is willing to help them and open the portal, but Regina is not willing to take off that anti-magic cuff that's on her. So no dice until Captain Hook ropes 13-year-old Henry Mills into a scheme to spring Zelina from jail anyway, which they can't accomplish because Regina sets every code and combination lock she owns to Henry's birthday. Hook tries to steal Zelina's heart before he gives her her magic powers back as a form of insurance, because Hook is actually not an idiot, but it turns out that Zelina has a protection spell over her heart, the same kind that Regina put over Henry after the whole Pan body swapping situation, which I'm once again asking why every magic user isn't doing that to their own heart and the hearts of everyone that matters to them. It's just, it feels like such a crazy weakness to walk around with your heart unprotected if that's not necessary. Zelina gets her hands on Hook's sword and cuts off her own hand just above the magic cuff, so she's not wearing the magic cuff, gets her magic powers back, regrows her hand with her magic powers, and teleports away. Regina handles that very well. Zelina wastes absolutely no time in kidnapping Robin Hood and dragging him into the middle of the street for a confrontation against Team Good Guy so that she can get her hands on that light magic wand, a sort of tradesies. You have your soulmate, I get the wand, so that I can open a portal back to Oz and take me and my unborn child very far away from all of you weirdos and all of your weirdo problems. And Regina hands her that wand, no fight at all. Because she knows that Zelina is powerful enough to open the portal, but also that that kind of magic will weaken Zelina significantly to the point where they can slap that cuff back on her and then use their magic to reroute the portal. We can't make the portal, we're not strong enough for that. But once it's here, we can just sort of scoot it over. So instead of it going to Oz, it's going to go to the Enchanted Forest and we can get our swan. They get Zelina tied up, bound at Granny's Diner, because it's not like we have like a sheriff's office or jail cells or anything like that well established in the narrative. We can't introduce that now. We have to put her in the diner. And that's where Regina's rerouting the portal. It's a tornado because of Oz. So the Twister comes by and it sucks up the diner and transports them away. This diner is absolutely packed with a cast of characters, all right? We've got the Charmings, we've got Henry, Regina, Robin Hood, 3 of the dwarves, Granny, Prince Neil, who's part of the Charmings, but I always forget he exists, and so does the show. Belle is here. Belle has a magic rose in a jar, by the way, just like the Disney animated Beauty and the Beast movie. Mother Superior gave it to her, and as long as there are petals on the rose, her husband, whom is comatose and also her arch nemesis, is still alive. But if all the petals fall, that is a sign that he has perished. So if you were wondering if Belle was actually over him yet, the answer is no. No matter how many very convincing texts I send her. So hey, where did Emma Swan go in the Enchanted Forest? She ended up reborn, the Dark One, from the Dark One tar pit. Haven't seen that place since Neil died next to it. It's a real classic. She's reborn sopping wet and immediately besieged by hallucinations of Rumpelstiltskin. He's actually the manifestation of the Dark One. Emma's the Dark One. But Rumpelstiltskin is kind of the entity of the darkness, the Dark One, in Emma's head, trying to convince her to do evil things. The sort of Vizier in her ear, her evil advisor. Which means we get full Dark One Rumpelstiltskin just prancing about, bothering her. Anything that lets Robert Carlyle just strut around set is fine by me. I love it. But Emma doesn't want to be the Dark One. She wants to go find Merlin and get rid of the darkness once and for all, because that's what the apprentice told her would happen. Rumpelstiltskin is teaching Emma how to use her Dark One powers. She learns how to teleport, and he brings her to a place full of will-o'-the-wisps because she needs one of those to get to Merlin. But there is someone else there hunting the will-o'-the-wisps. Someone with a lot of curly red hair and a bow and arrow. It's Merida from Brave. She challenges Emma to a fist fight for the will-o'-the-wisp.
I'm willing to fight fair if you are. No magic.
I like her spunk. Break her neck.
But actually, they're going to share the will-o'-the-wisp, okay? They're going to travel together to the Hill of Stones, where you need to go and release the will-o'-the-wisp and whisper your question into it, and it will answer your question as, like, payment for its freedom, even though you're the bitch that captured it in the first place. Merida needs the help because all 3 of her brothers got kidnapped. The other clan leaders don't believe that she is worthy to be queen now that her father has died, and they showed that by kidnapping all 3 of her adult brothers. Classic. That night when they camp, Emma learns that Dark Ones can't sleep. Not only don't they sleep, they just don't need to, they can't. And she needs to pick up a hobby, like how Rumpelstiltskin's was spinning straw into gold. She ends up weaving dream catchers. That becomes her thing. That'll matter later. So she's just kind of up all night whispering to a hallucination. Rumpelstiltskin informs her that her and Merida actually can't share the will-o'-the-wisp. That's not how it works. You can only have one owner of the wisp alive at a time. So if one of them was to use it, that person would then have to die so the next person can get in there and answer their question, which is a problem because Merida smelt betrayal a mile away and vanishes in the middle of the night to go use the will-o'-the-wisp before this crazy lady hurts her.
I don't know what kind of witch you are or what strange voices are in your wee head, but I heard everything.
What's she saying? Accent's a bit much, no?
Merida uses the wisp. Now, if Emma wants to, she's gonna have to kill that redhead. And it's her only way home. Except for no, it's not. Her family arrives just in time to see Emma about to squish an innocent woman's heart into sand. They give her a little pep talk and she lets Merida go, much to Rumpelstiltskin's disappointment. After Merida runs off, the Charmings let Emma hold on to her own Dark One dagger. This is very significant because it shows that they trust her with this power. They think that she can handle it and restrain herself. And Emma turns around and hands it to the one person that she can trust to make the hard call, that she thinks will be able to save her when she cannot save herself. The person that she trusts more than anyone else with her power, with her life, with her agency, with the only key to destroy her. She hands it to Regina Mills. I know that's right. Hey, ladies, what is up? Her boyfriend is there. Her son is there. Her parents are there. She passes over all of them to hand that knife to her son's other mom, which could mean nothing. Before they can pack themselves back into Granny's diner and go home, King Arthur arrives on horseback saying, "Hey, girlies, we actually need you in Camelot. There's been a prophecy. The Savior is gonna free Merlin. And I would really like him to be free. So come to Camelot, please." And they do. Because these people just can't help themselves. They're going to Camelot. What grand adventures will await? Smash cut to 6 weeks later. Granny's diner crash lands back into Storybrooke, Maine. Everyone is wearing sexy new Camelot outfits, but they have no memory of getting those outfits, no memory of anything that happened in Camelot after they walked into King Arthur's castle for the first time. What happened? It's almost like another dark curse. So for anyone counting at home, this is dark curse number 3. Number 3. And who crashes the diner to tell them that they failed their mission in Camelot? But fully formed dark Emma Swan, complete with iced out bleached blonde hair and like a complicated little braided updo, bleached brows, red lip, and honestly, a leather jacket that I'm very jealous of. It's got a really structured sort of cowl neckline. Jealous. I would like that jacket. The dark swan turns Sneezy into stone just because she doesn't like him. And also she has her dagger back. So it has presumably been a very long 6 weeks. You know what that means? It means that this season, we're not getting a lot of long time ago in the Enchanted Forest flashbacks. We are getting 2 concurrent storylines, the modern day Storybrooke with its shiny new curse, and 6 weeks ago Camelot, which will presumably explain the shiny new curse. So let's start in Camelot. The gang meets Queen Guinevere, who I'll put on the board in just a second, but the nervous lad has finally joined me and I don't want to scare him. The whole group gets invited to a ball in their honor at King Arthur's castle. It's all very grand. And they meet Merlin. Merlin's a tree, or he's trapped in a tree, one of those things, and the savior is prophesied to free him. Regina does a little bit of a lie and tells them that she's the savior. She'll save them because they can't have anyone looking too closely at Emma right now. These people don't like the Dark One. In fact, nobody likes the Dark One because the Dark One has a little bit of a reputation, and I wonder whose fault that is. Emma and Regina are clue hunting together and bickering incessantly because as much as things change, they always stay the same. Regina is determined to be the one to break Merlin out of the tree so that Emma doesn't have to do any magic while they are here, any magic while she's the Dark One, because if she does any magic as the Dark One, that is inherently dark magic. And Regina knows how slippery that slope is, and she does not want to give Emma any reason to give in to temptation, or really even to be tempted in the first place. Sir Percival gifts Regina the world's largest rectangular purple gemstone on a thin silver chain to wear to the ball, but Regina doesn't even want to go to the ball because she's nervous. She has to get gentle parented by Mary Margaret and David, of all people, into going. They get it out of her. She doesn't want to go because she's afraid. First off, she doesn't know how to dance. Everyone's going to be looking at her. Second off, she doesn't know how to pretend to be a savior. She doesn't know how to be anything but an evil queen in this kind of setting. And it's really messing with her. So David Charming teaches Regina how to dance. And it's genuinely like a very sweet thing to do. It's the first time I've liked David in a hot minute. But uh-oh, the necklace is a camera. They're spying on her. They heard her say she's the evil queen. They go to the ball. Emma Swan is dressed in all white and a flower crown, like she's 9 years old and a flower girl at her aunt's wedding. Leroy dances with Belle. Regina dances with Robin. Henry, my son, flirts with a girl. His grandfather, Prince Charming, talks him up first, and the whole conversation is very 2 13-year-olds who don't know how to talk to each other, which means it's very painful. Henry impresses her with his iPod Nano.
Are you a knight?
Writer. I'm a writer.
Her name is Violet. She's gonna stick around. Catherine Nolan is probably for sure never coming back at this point. Right? That'd be crazy. At the ball, Robin and Regina have such a cute moment where they're both trying to figure out the dance that everyone else is doing at the same time because neither of them have ever done this. Regina didn't dance with people at balls in the past. Her husband, Snow White's father, was not interested in hanging out with her or looking at her. So, they're doing this together for the first time. It's really nice until a man cuts in to steal Regina. It's Percival. And he tries to kill Regina in the middle of the ballroom floor because he was wronged by the evil queen as a child, and he's looking for his vengeance. Who steps in to save the day? Robin Hood, who's immediately mega stabbed. And David has to come in to actually dispatch the attacker. Loved the enthusiasm, though, my man. You did your best. The sword that Percival used was specifically enchanted to kill Regina, so Regina can't heal Robin, because that's how magic works. But maybe Emma can heal Robin. So Regina, who was so against Emma using any magic here, begs Emma to please use some magic here, because she can't lose love again. Miss you, Daniel. Wherever you are, he's under Robin. Hallucination Rumpelstiltskin shows up to tell Emma that she cannot do magic for someone else without extracting a price. All magic comes with a price. And Emma can't be the one to pay that price. Regina would have to be the one to in this case, because she's the one who, like, commissioned the spell. This does mean that everyone else watches Emma loudly and passionately talk to a wall about her internal conflicts. And at the end of it, she does not extract a price, and she heals Robin Hood anyway. And her hand goes just a little gold and scaly for it. This action will have consequences, but those consequences are not Emma Swan going full gold and scaly dark one like Rumpelstiltskin. And can I talk about that really quick, actually? All of Once Upon a Time is cowards for not giving me full glitter lizard Emma Swan. That would have looked so cool. Her dark one transformation is just that she got a bleach in tone and a new coat. Rumpelstiltskin, when he became the dark one, immediately went lizard mode. And he also immediately started murdering dudes. So maybe it's just that he kind of like went in a lot more headfirst than she did. But no, actually. And I can tell you a little later in this arc that how quickly you go full dark one apparently has nothing to do with how glitter lizard you get. It's just that it happens to some people. Most people. Every other dark one we've ever seen. Not Emma Swan, though. She's actually too pretty. Back in Fair Storybrooke, the dwarves are once again the guinea pigs, testing what happens when you try to leave town in this brand new curse. Last new curse, the dwarf they sent over got memory wiped, full reset. This time, Dopey gets turned into a tree. You can't leave town or you get treed. Stakes established. Henry Mills is not handling the evil mom thing very well. He just got to a point where both of his moms weren't evil. So he's brooding over the sea, and he says Emma's name 3 times, and she appears because she's Beetlejuice. That wasn't how that worked before, right? That wasn't one of Rumpelstiltskin's rules. You needed the dagger to summon that. Am I forgetting things about Once Upon a Time? Because I'm gonna freak out. That's like the one thing I'm supposed to know. Are they adding more rules now? Or has that been a rule the whole time? If that was the rule the whole time, Belle would have been doing that constantly. So that can't be how it works. It's the show that is wrong. Emma still has all of her memories and absolutely zero ill intent toward Henry. She loves that kid. You know who else loves that kid? His other mom, Regina, who does not want him anywhere near his Dark One mom right now. And Emma just gloats that with no savior, they have no chance of breaking the curse. Regina's not up to it. She can't break the curse, and she can't save the town from what else is coming. The dark curse did not just sweep up Granny's diner. That would have been very localized. It also got Camelot. And the Camelotians, Camelatians, nope. The people of Camelot are just sort of wandering about in the forest with no Excalibur. It did not travel with Arthur. Mary Margaret and David admit to King Arthur that the Dark One is their daughter and has been the whole time, and this is her fault. I'm so sorry. And then they put all of the people of Camelot up in tents in the woods, which you could have brought them into town, right? They should probably be living in town. Even tents in town feels better, to have them close by so you can keep everyone all together and protected, because nobody has memories right now. Like, the Merry Men lived in tents in the woods, and I guess still do. But that's because they're the Merry Men. They live in the woods. These people lived in a castle yesterday. Exhibit A of living in the woods being a bad idea. Robin Hood gets attacked by a woodland dark fae thing, and it carries him up into the sky in front of his child. It's a fury. Belle does her research and figures it out. That girl loves books and monsters, and those are her only personality traits. Furies do this. They come here and they steal people away and they hurt people to extract prices for magic that was never paid for. But they only do that, actually, when the price was life. So the Fury is here because Emma brought Robin Hood back to life, but there was no life given in return. So the balance has been upset. And they have until the moon is at its highest point in the sky to sacrifice somebody else's life, or Robin Hood will get dragged to the underworld. Karen's boat is here to drag Robin Hood to the underworld. At the edge of the water, Regina offers her own life for Robin Hood's. But then who steps in to join hands with her, potentially sacrificing their own lives, making a last-ditch effort to not have Regina do this? It's Mary Margaret and David. Of course it's Mary Margaret and David. But then also Leroy and King Arthur join in. Neither of them would potentially sacrifice their life for Regina. I'm so sorry. Don't lie to me. Don't lie. And I love Regina. I do. Arthur doesn't know her, and Leroy hates her ass so bad. They are not holding hands in this line. It works. All 5 of them holding hands is so powerful that it scares the Fury away. And Robin Hood is fine. Darkwing Emma Swan had one priority when she arrived back in Storybrooke, and that was purchasing property. She has a house now! Emma Swan has a house. She does not have to live in a 1-bedroom apartment with her parents and her infant brother anymore. She invites Killian over for drinks and keeps him away from her ominously chained up door to a basement that's definitely not full of ominous... Killian, don't worry about that. Drink this. Hook tries to True Love's kiss her to get rid of this Dark One curse, but it doesn't work because Emma doesn't think there's anything wrong. She doesn't believe that she is cursed. She thinks she's much better now, actually. But Killian is not up for dating a Dark One, which really tracks, given his history. And I don't know why Emma seems surprised by that, but she really does. Not to say he is giving up on her, because he's very much not. Killian Jones, wife guy, continues.
I spent over a century trying to find a way to kill the bloody crocodile. I can spend at least that long trying to save the woman I love.
What's in the basement? It's Excalibur, stuck back in its stone. Emma can't remove it from the stone, obviously. She's no hero right now. She's the Dark One. And Hallucination Rumpelstiltskin gleefully prances around, telling her that to get that sword, she'll need to pay the price. This guy, even when he's not real, he cannot stop talking about the price thing. Emma's first and potentially only plan to get the sword out of the stone without paying any prices is to steal one of the dwarves' pickaxes. She steals Happy's pickaxe and tries to demolish the stone itself, which fails miserably. And now the dwarves are demanding that Mary Margaret and David do something about their daughter. And King Arthur is demanding Mary Margaret and David do something to help them, because somebody has stolen from the people of Camelot. They had a reliquary, a chest full of magical items, including a magic bean. One of those things that portals you to different dimensions. They're kind of everywhere. I don't know if you do. It's really easy to travel from dimension to dimension. Didn't you know? David decides to help Arthur find who did this, and they end up chasing their perp down in a pickup truck while the guy, Griff is his name, is on a horse. And I just spent the entire chase scene so worried for this horse, especially because at one point David gets out of the pickup truck, gets on top of the pickup truck, and gives control of the pickup truck to King Arthur of Camelot, guy who famously has never driven a pickup truck. They get him safely. The kid, Griff, who does say that, yeah, I stole everything, except the magic bean. I don't know nothing about a magic bean. And they lock Griff up in the cells in the sheriff's office that we just got. They're brand new. Couldn't have put Zelena in there before. Over in Granny's diner, Robin Hood is staring at Zelena's ultrasound on his phone, and for some reason the character they have placed there to be emotional comfort for him in that moment is Hook. Belle is in Granny's at the same time. They give him Hook. Hook makes a hasty retreat when Granny's throws him a to-go bag of food that he didn't order. Emma ordered and sent a little note along, asking him to meet her in the Jolly Roger. She wants to have a little lunch date and pretend everything's normal. She puts herself in that pale pink dress she wore to their date to Tony's last season. Emma will not answer any of his questions and just keeps insisting that she's so much better now. She's not scared now. Hook just has to trust her. And he won't. And she also won't trust him. Neither of them are giving an inch. Hook is having maybe the worst time out of anyone for this entire season. Not even just this arc. This whole season is kind of just Hook's no good, very bad day. He starts angry from the jump in episode 1, and he doesn't lighten up once. During this lunch date, Hook ends up pointing out the cutlass that he used against the Dark One that he fought for many, many years, Rumpelstiltskin, before he was even the Dark One, right? When Rumpelstiltskin cornered him on the Jolly Roger to try and get his wife back. Miss you, Mila, you were a real one. Emma, after Hook leaves, takes the cutlass. That's actually all she wanted. She was using him the whole time. Back at Granny's, Belle, who's not comforting Robin Hood in this very emotionally difficult time in his life, sees her magic rose in the jar reforms all of the petals back on the stem, and that can only mean one thing. That means her archenemy husband is waking up. He's not comatose anymore. She runs across town to go greet him, and he's gone. Because Emma stole him. The last thing that they needed to wake up Rumpelstiltskin is something that touched him before he was the Dark One. That's that cutlass that she got from Hook. So Emma wakes up Mr. Gold out of the kindness of her own heart to make him a hero so that he can withdraw Excalibur from the stone. Because now that he's not the Dark One, he's kind of just a blank slate. Apparently he's the easiest out of everybody to turn into a hero, which is super weird because I feel like, based on the rules of the show, like, I feel like David could do it. I just really believe in my soul that either David or, not Mary Margaret, because of that murder she did one time, Henry, maybe though, Regina for the drama, could pull the sword from the stone. I feel like she already knows people with those capabilities, but that's fine. We are going to instead manipulate Rumpelstiltskin's circumstances to a point where he becomes the purest and truest hero in the land. That's easier. But to do it, Emma needs her secret weapon, which is tied to the front of her 1972 yellow Super Beetle that she has stashed under a bridge. Her secret weapon that is Merida Brave, who she's also brought over from Fairy Tale Land. And Emma steals her heart and lets Merida know that she has a very particular job for her.
I need you to make him brave.
I am gonna do something drastic. That is so much worse than any of the Frozen ones, I think. In Camelot 6 weeks ago, or 5.5 weeks ago, or whatever it is now, Regina and Belle have found a spell that lets you communicate through magical barriers, so they could potentially talk to Merlin even while he is a tree or is trapped in tree. They're not really sure at that point. But they need a special mushroom called a crimson crown, and it looks exactly like what you think of when you hear mushroom, like it's the red cap with the little white polka dots. David and Arthur go on a mushroom mission, which is great because David and Arthur really present as the same guy twice. And I have no interest in watching them hang out. They find their mushrooms, or mushroom, actually. They find one. David almost dies to get his hand on it. It's boring the whole time. And they lose their mushroom in the process. But Arthur is so impressed with David's pure heart that he knights David, makes him Sir David of the Round Table, and actually makes him Siege Perilous, the truest and bravest and most purest knight of all, a position that has been left vacant since Lancelot's betrayal years ago. The whole point of the round table is that everybody has the same chair and you're all looking at each other. So there's nobody at the head of the table. That's the point of the round table, right? But the Siege Perilous is a bigger chair, a slightly fancier looking chair, so that everyone knows actually that's the best guy here. I feel like that defeats the point. Is that part of Arthurian lore? Because I have an issue with it. They have a big ceremony for the knighting thing, and really all that matters about that is we see Hook clapping for, I think, the first time, and it looks just as silly as you'd think. Lancelot, previously mentioned former Siege Perilous, dead back in season 2, appears to Mary Margaret. Not dead, alive the whole time. We never actually saw him die. I guess we just heard that he died, and everyone believed it. So we don't really know what actually happened there, and we won't. But he's here, and he tells Mary Margaret that she can't trust Arthur. Arthur is a bad guy. And yeah, he is. When I said they lost the mushroom, lie. Arthur actually squirreled it away into his little reliquary magic chest. He just didn't want David to have it. He doesn't want anyone talking to Merlin. And in Storybrooke, he's the one that asked Griff, the guy running away on the horse, to steal all those magic items from the reliquary. They lied together. There was never a magic bean at all. Arthur put him up to this and then goes to visit him in the cells and convinces the kid to drink poison so that no one else will ever find out what happened. Tells the kid that he's going to do this in service to Camelot. He's going to do more than anybody else could ever do for the kingdom. It's so fucked up. And honestly, I was stoked to see Arthur do something psychologically deranged, because it made him not just David the sequel, it made him mildly interesting, but also, oh my god, dude. How did King Arthur get this way? There's some flashbacks. Really, the answer is he's always been like that, which is kind of my favorite answer for a villain. We see baby Arthur dreaming about making his little village into the true reformed kingdom of Camelot, because as a child, he was given visions by Merlin, letting him know that it was his destiny to reform Camelot, to take the sword from the stone, which means he grew up into a fanatic adult, obsessed with this idea of destiny, of being a king, of being the best ever. When he pulls Excalibur from the stone and realizes that part of it is missing, he goes to show it off to his people and let them know that he's done it, and he just doesn't pull the sword all the way out of the sheath. So that nobody ever knows. He is truly obsessed. He's trying to translate every scroll, solve any riddle, calculate his destiny in this way. He ignores his wife on her birthday. He only goes to Guinevere's birthday party to let her know that he's translated a riddle and is going off on a physical quest to try and finally find the missing piece of Excalibur and reforge it. This is all he wants. And he abandons his wife on her birthday. Who's there to move in and dance with Guinevere and comfort her and wish her happy birthday? Lancelot! Lancelot! Guinevere has in her possession the weakness gauntlet from season 4, the thing that lets you point to anybody's greatest weakness. And Arthur's greatest weakness is the Dark One dagger. So Guinevere points the gauntlet and knows exactly how to find this thing that her husband has been searching for years and years and years, and decides that she's just going to go get it. She's just going to go get it. She'll take Lancelot. They will finish this. Arthur didn't even ride off in the right direction. And they find it super fast. Guinevere and Lancelot get to the Dark One tar pit. Or it might not be the Dark One tar pit. Maybe a Dark One tar pit. They call it the Dark One vault. I guess technically it's a vault. Whatever. After they descend into the tar pit, they're attacked by the tar, the darkness, the goop. The same stuff that, attacked the apprentice and swarmed and Emma. The goop, the darkness. It attacks Lancelot. And Guinevere gets it away and then starts macking on Lancelot. because of the adrenaline. They both say it can never happen again, of course. And then they descend further into the Dark One tar pit, where they find the Dark One dagger and also the Dark One. It's Rumpelstiltskin proper, because this is a real proper flashback. It's real Dark One Rumpelstiltskin. He's there. And Rumpelstiltskin wants that weakness gauntlet. And we know damn well he gets it. He has it in season 4. So he offers them a deal. He will take the gauntlet, and he will not give them the dagger. They can't have the dagger. He needs that. But he will give them the sands of Avalon. It's magic sand that gives anything the appearance of being mended. It does not actually fix anything. It's just an illusion. It's a mind trick. They could use this sand on Excalibur and give it the false appearance of being reforged and whole, so that Arthur gives up on this whole goddamn quest. Lancelot is not interested in making deals with the glitter lizard, but Guinevere is, and takes the sand. Instead of just using the sand on Excalibur and tricking Arthur into thinking his life's mission is complete, she shows the sand to Arthur and she gives him the choice, okay? Either we can use the sand and pretend fix the sword, but really fix your marriage, or you can continue on this quest of yours, and I'm gonna go pursue Lancelot, and your marriage is over. What's your choice, Arthur? And Arthur chooses both. Kind of. He uses the sand on his wife to fix his marriage. He brainwashes his wife with magic sand. You know, she wanted attention and for her husband to be less focused on this mission he can't complete. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now she's 100% supportive over all his little quirks. And they can mend their kingdom with this liar sand. He just throws the sand out the window and it creates Camelot. It creates the castle, King Arthur's castle, from nothing, which I don't believe falls under the purview of mending, but maybe if you are just sort of that in your head and that convinced of your destiny, maybe that is fixing it. That was a few years back, and Arthur still does not have a reforged Excalibur here and now in Camelot. He would like David's help. And David would love to help because his daughter is rapidly getting worse. Emma is sick. She is paranoid. She is tormented by visions. But Mary Margaret obviously does not want to help Arthur because her bestie and guy that officiated her wedding, Lancelot, showed up and said in no uncertain terms, that guy's not who he says he is. He's doing things wrong. You can't trust him. So the Charmings have like a full screaming argument in front of Regina. Regina's in the room for this. David thinks Mary Margaret's being too sentimental. She's blinded by trust and friendship. And Mary Margaret thinks David is blinded by how good it feels to be loved and valued by a king. Because it's always daddy issues with these people. David immediately snitches to Arthur that Lancelot is alive and around his castle, while Mary Margaret and Lancelot run off to take the dagger back to its original hiding place, to the Dark One tar pit. Who's there to stop them when they get there? King Arthur! Woo! Except the Charmings actually weren't. Well, they did really fight. They were really fighting. And then they stopped fighting and they schemed. David was right behind Arthur the whole time, ready to defend his family, defend his daughter by putting King Arthur at sword point and saying, we know something's not right here. But it is hard to keep a guy who has brainwashed his entire kingdom locked up. Guinevere frees Arthur and sentences Lancelot to the dungeons for treason. And then Arthur sands of Avalon's the Charmings. And now they're 100% Arthur pilled. We love that guy. You'll never guess who is in the cell next to Lancelot in the dungeons of Camelot, by the way, unless you guessed Merida Brave. Because it's Merida Brave. Other things. Henry's still flirting with Violet. Emma finally tells Hook about hallucination Rumpelstiltskin so that somebody else is on the same page as her. And we learn that horses are afraid of dark ones. Many, many, many years ago in Camelot, long, long ago, if you will, Merlin faced the Dark One. And they just straight up show us Merlin. I feel like they've been kind of keeping his face mysterious for most of the season. And then all of a sudden they're like, nah, here he is. And it's the guy that baby Emma saw when she went to the movie theater. It's that guy. Merlin had the chance to completely destroy the Dark One and end the darkness forever, but he hesitated and cried for the woman that he once loved that the Dark One destroyed. And the Dark One, this masked figure, collects one of Merlin's own tears to use as a spell component to trap Merlin and turn him into a tree. Could have ended it forever. Ended up a tree. And Emma sees all of this through Dreamcatcher, because you'll recall that in Once Upon a Time, Dreamcatchers can be used to steal memories, contain memories, and then to view them later. So now Emma's got some more information, and she knows exactly who she wants to tell it to, Regina. But Regina is busy because Arthur pilled Mary Margaret and David found Regina and asked her to please show them where she hid the real dagger. They need it. They need to give it to Arthur. Arthur was right the whole time. He's kind of our only choice, our only chance. And also in this scene, they have Regina dressed exactly the way they dressed and styled the Red Queen from the Wonderland spin-off season. And it made me so happy. They've had her in a gorgeous off-the-shoulder red dress in all her Camelot scenes. And now all of a sudden here, she gets like a structured red cape to go along with it. I miss my girl Anna so bad. I miss her so bad. I think I'm just really... That season was just so fun. And this arc is like it's not fun. Emma shows up and freezes her parents with her Dark One magic just in time to catch Regina up on the plot and let her know everything she's missed. They believe that the key to releasing Merlin will be a tear of lost love, because that is what Merlin cried when he got trapped. That was a spell component, so much like a venom, anti-venom kind of thing. The thing they need to undo the spell is what the spell needed to be created in the first place. So Emma shows Regina a bunch of clips from season 1 of Daniel and of Cora, so that Regina cries for her lost love, her ex-fiance Daniel. But it doesn't work. That tear doesn't work for their spell, because Regina's kind of over it at this point. She's good. She's moved on. She's found her true love. This is not a true mournful tear of lost love. They need something fresher. They need something a little more devastated. Henry Mills is in love with this girl, Violet. They're bonding over their dead parents. Her mom is dead and Henry's dad is dead. So basically they're soulmates. But Violet's dad doesn't really approve of Henry. He's not going to make a good knight. He's not even from here. He gets a pep talk from his moms about how he doesn't need to be anybody except for exactly who he is, that anybody would be lucky to have him, that he doesn't need to change anything. It really up his confidence. His moms, as a parenting unit, are so good for him. And we never really get to see them in action, but when we do, they never miss, which could mean nothing. Henry takes Violet out on a real date, like sets up a dinner date for them, and she turns him down anyway. She just wants to be friends, which means they can use one of Henry's tears for their spell to free Merlin. And they do. Emma springs Merlin from his tree prison, completing the prophecy. The savior got him out of there. And Merlin tells Arthur he's not mad, he's just disappointed. And Merlin can unsand Mary Margaret and David, so they're not under Arthur's control anymore. But he cannot undark one Emma, the whole reason we got him out of this tree in the first place. And he says he can't do it because her heart isn't ready. We've been talking a lot about Camelot. Let's bounce back to Storybrooke here. In Storybrooke, we have a lot to deal with, starting with the boy, Arthur killed. The boy dissolved into mist when he died, so there's no body. It's just a mystery. Now, there are security cameras in the sheriff's office. Not that you'd know that watching this season. They don't mention them once. So Arthur's just going to get away with it then. And Belle is sounding the alarms that Gold is missing. Gold has been very busy trying to teach Emma moral lessons in her basement. The funniest man to have that job. Emma is busy weaving dream catchers and crying into them in her shed. She's not very evil. I'm going to be so honest. I feel like every time we see her fully alone, like not besieged by visions, she's just so sad. And Merida is busy training Gold in the woods, just swinging a sword at him for a while, hoping it'll make him into a hero. Eventually she taunts him with the chipped teacup that he and Belle shared until he's provoked into violence. Is that making him a hero? Little detour and then we'll come right back to Gold, I promise. Team Good Guy, which is weird because it does not include Emma anymore, it decides to throw a ball to raise everyone's spirits. They're gonna have a big town dance. But it's Henry's idea because he wants to hang out with Violet. But Violet can't go to the party because she's too sad. Her horse is missing. Her horse came over in the Dark Curse, but ran off from camp, and she's just too sad to go to a party. So Henry visits his evil mom to ask for her help finding and retrieving Violet's horse so that she'll go to the party he's planning and he can impress this girl. Henry doesn't remember being friend-zoned or having his heart broken or anything. Remember, they don't remember anything from Camelot right now. Emma still loves that kid so much. This is another point in her, like, not being evil. The show really wants me to think that she's evil because she is the Dark One, but they are not showing me evil actions. She drops everything to pack her 13-year-old son into her bright yellow 1972 VW Bug and go hunt down a girl she's never met, to go hunt down that girl's horse. Like, she just wears black now, and her voice, like, dropped half an octave. She hits her T's, like, a lot harder when she speaks, and she doesn't use contractions when she talks anymore. Is that what evil is? She stands really awkwardly as well. She looks like maybe she just got a body today and isn't quite sure what to do with it yet. I feel like if Dark One Rumpelstiltskin, let's just use our parallel here. It would be Rumpelstiltskin and Balefire, right? Because Balefire was 14 when Rumpelstiltskin became the Dark One, so very similar age to Henry. If Balefire went to his father and said, this girl I like, her horse ran off, and it's making me really sad because she won't hang out with me, she's too depressed. Would Rumpelstiltskin go on a wholesome mission with his son to go get that horse back? Or would he do something really fucked up that he thinks would come to the same outcome? Because I don't think he's loading Balefire into a cart and having a bonding mission to go peacefully lasso a horse. I don't think he's doing it. I think he is obsessed with the power and maybe trying to build a new horse that goes horrifically wrong and it's like a Frankenstein situation. She's not evil. That's what I'm trying to say. She's barely the Dark One. This is the Dark Swan arc. Show me her doing something dark. I want to see her dark. Go all the way. Make her scaly! While Emma is busy retrieving the horse, Hook, Regina, Robin, and Belle break into Emma's house to also break into her basement. They see Excalibur, her secret basement sword, and her secret basement ropes where she had been keeping her secret basement Mr. Gold, and her secret dream catcher. She has a whole collection, but she had one that she was really upset about, the one she was crying into earlier, full of Violet's memories. Of all people, showing that when Violet friend-zoned Henry at that date, when she broke Henry's heart, it's because Emma was controlling her. Emma literally stole this child's heart to control her into doing that so that Henry would cry. And they could use his tear for the spell component. And Henry sees the whole thing. He sees them do this with the dream catcher, and he finds out what his mom did. And then they all go snitch to Arthur about it. Henry gets Violet her horse back. Violet's dad says that Henry would make a good knight, and Violet kisses Henry on the cheek. It's going much better for him in this dimension. You might be thinking, Haley, you just did that whole monologue about how Emma's not evil enough, and you knew you were about to tell us about this terrible thing Emma did. I don't think that's evil. I think that's really funny. And I'm going to be so real with you. There's like 2 things Emma does this whole season that I think count as like a dark action, a dark one coded thing. This is one of them. And I like don't think this is that bad. It sucks, right? To steal a child's heart to make your son cry. That's bad. Yeah. She did it to get Merlin out of the tree. Snow White would have done it too. That if you could say Snow White would have done it too, that's not a dark one-coded action. I'm sorry. I said we were going to come back to Mr. Gold. We're coming back to Mr. Gold. Mr. Gold frees himself from these ropes Merida has him tied up in the woods. With the shattered remains of the chipped teacup, he breaks it on the ground so that he can use the jagged corpse to free himself. And Emma's very unhappy because she comes to check on her prisoner and he's gone. But now she does know that Gold still cares about Belle. So that's useful, and also was never up for debate. Was never up for debate. The moment that he was conscious in her basement, he was like, can I go home to my wife? Can I please go home to my wife? And now Emma's here gloating like, so he does care about her. Yeah, babe, and he has the whole time. But now Emma's plan is to send Merida to go kill Belle, because that is gonna make Mr. Gold into a hero that can pull the sword from the stone. Why is Merida Brave here? Just to be Emma's little dark puppet. I don't like it. Gold hides from his captors in the elevator of the library, which means he's reunited with Belle, famous lover of libraries. Belle gets the pathetic sad boy version of her husband, just crying and telling her that the only thing that pulled him through his coma was her voice, that he was ready to let go forever, but he couldn't leave her. He heard her there, which is so rude because Belle is trying to not be in love with him anymore, and this is Belle catnip. This is a trap. This is a trap designed specifically for Belle French. Hey, Belle, what happened to your new boyfriend, by the way? I know he's not your boyfriend anymore. Where is he? You want to ever mention Will Scarlet again? For me? Please? Or Lily Page. If anybody's seen them, I just want to say hi. I just want to say hi. Belle gives Gold a pep talk to cheer him up about his bad leg. His leg is bad again because he's not magic. And she talks about the man behind the beast and calls him a hero. And she's like talking herself back into her old patterns. And then Merida finds them because they decided to shelter in Gold's shop. The most obvious place they could be. Gold's master plan to keep him and Belle safe is to leave Storybrooke. He's got a bag of magic they can put in the car, and it will keep them from turning into trees, and they can be gone and safe forever. I personally love this plan. If Emma thinks that she needs Gold to snuff out the light forever, or whatever it is her plan is, nobody knows at this point. Removing him from Magic Town makes perfect sense. And Belle would probably agree with him if he went at it from that angle instead of him just saying that he's a coward and he can't handle it. If he just went at this logically, he and his wife could be halfway to New York. Their marriage would already be healed.
I'm not a hero.
Well, you've been brave before.
When?
But instead, just Gold leaves, and Merida finds Belle, who she's being controlled to kill, and drinks a werebear potion to turn into a bear, of course. Belle is on her own against a bear. Psych! Gold comes back, and he takes that bag of magic protection that was going to get them out of town and splatters it all over the bear, turning her right back into Merida and saving himself and his wife. They're crying and hugging in the woods, and I'm just sitting there yelling, Belle, it's a trap! Your cycles, Belle, your patterns! You need to find a female friend and debrief about this over a drink immediately! Belle and Gold both go with Merida to Emma's basement, because I guess Belle is just fully involved now. We can't keep her out of it. And Gold is leaning into this hero thing. He's the real deal. He's a good guy now. And he's saying things like, that's not what heroes would do. And it's really weird coming from him. And he trades Merida's heart from Emma. He wants Merida's heart, and he wants the knowledge of what happened to Merida's brothers. He doesn't want anything for himself, because he's a hero. And then he will pull Excalibur from the stone.
What happens if he can't pull it from the stone? Then you will be sweeping his remains from the floor you were his maid once.
That's actually the first thing that Dark Emma has said that dropped my jaw. That's crazy. Maybe she's done three Dark One coded things, and that's the second one. Gold does a big apology to Belle about not being the man that she deserved from the start. A speech, I swear to God, I've heard from him 6 times. And then he pulls Excalibur from the stone. Figure of Arthurian legend, Rumpelstiltskin. I'm just excited to have a motivated Mr. Gold back on the field. He's ready to play the game, baby. He's gonna take himself down a Dark One. Okay, so the Charmings, Hook, and Regina all snitched to Arthur about Emma and stealing memories and how she's got Excalibur in the basement. Arthur is also caught up on the plot. And now they would like Arthur to try and commune with Merlin, again, using the Crimson Crown, that mushroom that was in the reliquary that they got back from Griff, that, you know, Arthur squirreled away back in Camelot. But what actually happens is Arthur destroys the mushroom because he's a bad person and he lies to them about it. He does a really shitty job destroying it, though. He just throws it into a fire and then leaves. Like that is going to fully destroy and incinerate a rare magic mushroom. You gotta try harder than that. The heroes find out he didn't actually try pretty much right away. They find it right away. So now they're suspicious of Arthur, and they have someone else they can give the mushroom to. They know another person that was chosen by Merlin himself. It's Henry Mills, the author. The author is a position divined by the sorcerer, by Merlin. So they give Henry the mushroom. Hey, Henry gets to commute with Merlin. Henry Mills having plot relevance again. I know, that's right. That's my son. Instead of actually connecting them to Merlin, they get his voicemail. It just pulls up like a recording that he left saying that the only person that can defeat the Dark One now is a woman named Nimue. Camelot! Let's go back to Camelot. There is a part in the 6 weeks ago Camelot timeline in which Merida matters a little. Merlin, Hook, Belle, and the Charmings spring Merida and Lancelot from their neighboring dungeon cells beneath Arthur's castle, and Merida pays them back by knocking Belle unconscious and dragging her onto a rowboat to Dunbrach. Is a lot of stuff about bravery and changing your fate and bears and proving yourself worthy even though you're a woman. Merida's brothers are not little kids in this like they are in the movie Brave. They're fully adults. They're all taller than her, and she needs to save them from where they've been kidnapped and, in fact, tied to posts for execution. The other 3 clan leaders, the ones that don't believe Merida can rule and the ones that did this to her brothers, are all cartoon accurate. Which looks just as silly as you'd think. I don't know how long it's been since you've watched Brave, but some of those designs don't translate well. One of them in particular doesn't translate well. Belle hypes Merida up enough that she saves her brothers from execution. She launches 1 arrow that knocks 3 arrows out of the air in a row, saving her brothers from imminent demise. Like, as they're hurtling towards her brothers, she gets them all one by one. So she gets to be queen now. Because that trick was just that good. And then Belle leaves Dunbroch and rejoins the other heroes at the end, and Merida stays there. And every day I am less sure of why we needed Merida in this show. I don't even dislike Merida. She's fine. And her adaptation here is also fine. I am just looking at all the characters on this board that I'm already emotionally invested in, some of which I'm emotionally invested in and already covered up with other characters that I then got invested in those characters. I'm out of room for Merida. I don't have space for her. And it seems like the show doesn't either, because they don't actually give her anything to do that is plot relevant that couldn't easily be filled in by another character. Does that make sense? Why is she here? Do people really like the movie Brave that much? I didn't think they did. Who cares about Merida? I want to talk about Merlin. How did Merlin become an immortal god wizard? Let me tell you, as a human, he stumbled around, lost in the desert with a buddy, until he stumbled across the Holy Grail. The real Holy Grail in the middle of the desert. And him and his friend were dying of thirst, and his friend just picked up the Holy Grail and drank out of it, and it dissolved him into mist because he disrespected the real Holy Grail. But Merlin, dying of thirst, didn't really have any other options, so he asked the gods for permission to drink from the Holy Grail, did not wait for a response, drank from it, and then immediately realized he had magic powers. Not only was he allowed to drink from the Holy Grail, it granted him immortality and magic powers. And that's why he's an immortal god wizard, because the Holy Grail is real. And I guess also so is the Christian God. Confirmed, once upon a time canon. 500 years after that, Merlin is helping folks wherever he can. He's a kindly wizard, handing out magic, extracting no price, when a pretty young woman called Nimue asks him for help. Nimue is seeking revenge for her village. A masked man named Vortigern burned the whole thing down. She is the sole survivor. Her entire life is gone. All she has left is a pocket full of seeds of middle mist flowers. They're like pink roses. And she just wants help propagating these flowers, making them grow. They don't grow anywhere except her village. And now the village is not in a state in which the flowers can grow anymore. So Merlin grows the flowers right here, just for her. And he can't see the future around this girl the way he can for everyone else. And he's smitten. It's a little Edward Cullen. It's a little, I can't see her. I don't understand her the way I believe I understand everyone else. This girl must be special. Merlin and Nimue fall deeply in love, and Merlin would like nothing more than to give up his immortality and just live out the rest of a short life with Nimue at his side, growing old and being together. Nimue says, fuck that. What if instead you let me drink from the Holy Grail, and then we can be immortal together, and we won't just have, 20 years. We will have an eternity. We can be in love and powerful and perfect forever. And Merlin says, absolutely not. And not only absolutely not, I'm going to make sure that can't happen. We are going to melt down the Holy Grail and make it into a sword. And then we're going to use that sword to cut away my immortality, to kill my immortality. And then I'll just be a guy. Yeah. Excalibur, and by extension, the Dark One dagger, has been the Holy Grail the whole time. Nimue still has a lot of thoughts of anger and revenge, and they have to visit the remains of her destroyed village on the little quest they're going on, which does not help. And they realize on this quest that Vortigern, the man who burned down Nimue's village, did so because he was looking for the Holy Grail. He's been looking for the Holy Grail this whole time, and they have it in their hands. They have it exposed now, and he is hot on their trail. Nimue would like the love of her life to go kill that guy for her. And Merlin says, "No, thank you. I have a job to do and I'm doing it." Merlin places the Holy Grail by the flame of Prometheus, the first spark of fire ever granted to humanity. And he shapes the Holy Grail with magic into a very familiar, wiggly sword. Just in time for Vortigern to arrive. Now, not after the cup, but after the sword. Vortigern stabs Nimue. She's dying, bleeding out on the ground, until she gets up. She didn't die. She's fine. She drank from the Holy Grail before they even left on this journey. I don't know how she didn't get smited. I guess she also asked for permission? She's immortal now. She's another immortal, powerful, unstoppable being, and she tears Vortigern's heart out of his body while Merlin begs her to spare him so she does not let darkness and evil inside of herself. But Nimue squooshes the heart and instantly turns green and scaly and shiny, and she shatters the sword into 2 pieces so nobody can use it to cut away her or Merlin's immortality. Nobody can kill either of them. Nimue takes the mask of the man that destroyed her entire life on as her own identity. She wears it now. And Merlin tethers her soul to the dagger and places Excalibur in the stone. And that is how the first ever Dark One was created. And that's why Merlin couldn't kill the Dark One when he had the chance. 'Cause it was Nimue. It was the love of his immortal life. The Dark One did destroy her, in a way. They really wanted you to think Vortigern was the first Dark One. It was so telegraphed. I don't think Once Upon a Time can surprise me anymore. And then Nimue made Merlin into a tree, presumably so he couldn't try to stop her future plans. And then at some point she died, right? And then somebody else became the Dark One. The traditional way to do so is by using the dagger to kill the previous Dark One, and then you become the next Dark One. Your soul is now tethered to that blade. And that happened to a bunch of guys over and over and over again. Until now, the Dark One is Emma Swan. Merlin's big plan now, in modern time, in the 6 weeks ago Camelot, is to reunite the 2 halves of Excalibur so that Merlin can use them to save Emma. He needs the sword reforged. Everyone needs the sword reforged. Which means Merlin and Emma need to go adventuring for the flame of Prometheus, the heat that Excalibur was originally forged in. It is the only heat that they can use. It's a spell component. They need it as a spell component. And when they go, the first Dark One will also be there. Not like be there, but be in their heads. Her spirit will be there. They're going to have to confront her. And also Merlin predicts that there is a 50% chance that Emma is going to succumb to the darkness and kill him. And he's like, well, it's worth the gamble. They make it to the flame. They call on the original Dark One, on Nimue. She's still mad at Merlin. And the Dark One attacks Merlin. Nimue is like using Emma's body for it. Emma's kind of the conduit for her. And Nimue is just shouting about how Merlin doesn't understand their power. Which is crazy, because it's the same power, right? They're just opposite sides of the exact same coin. They got their powers in the same way. They're the same powers. Merlin is just the light side, and then the Dark One is just the dark side? What do you mean he doesn't understand your power? If anybody understands. But Nimue's real mistake is saying that Merlin wants to make Emma back into nothing, because Emma has too much self-esteem these days to fall for that. She resists character development. Let's go.
Don't go back to being nothing! I'm not nothing! I was never nothing! The power you have, I don't need.
The other thing you need to reforge Excalibur is both halves of the sword. You gotta have them both present. And Arthur has the big half right now. Zelena's got a big plan to get them back into the castle. She found a tunnel while they were there the first time. She was pretending to be Regina's mute handmaiden for a while. I didn't get into it because she didn't do anything because of how she wasn't allowed to talk. But she found a tunnel, I guess, while she was plotting her escape. And she is going to show it to Team Hero. In exchange, if her information is good, Regina will de-magic cuff her and give Zelena her powers back. Great news about this heist. Regina looks so hot. She's so hot. All of Team Hero sneaks into the castle except that they leave Mary Margaret outside on Zelena duty. Just Mary Margaret, one person on Zelena duty. So Zelena knocks Mary Margaret unconscious and gets out. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Because Zelena was working with Arthur. Of course. Zelena uses one of Merlin's old spells in the spellbook to tether Merlin's soul to the big half of Excalibur, the same way the Dark One's soul is tethered to the little half of Excalibur. So he can be controlled in exactly the same way that anyone who has the Dark One dagger can control the Dark One. Right? You just have the, like, honestly much less cool looking part of the sword because it just looks like a broken sword. At least the dagger looks like a cool dagger. And Arthur is so proud of himself that now he can control Merlin and make him do anything forever. We've got 2 swords that can control people. We've got 2 incredibly powerful sorcerers that are just like weapons now. Everything's going wrong. It's all falling apart. Let's go back to Storybrooke, where Emma has the Flame of Prometheus in her basement. She's had it in her basement all along. She just couldn't use it because the big half of Excalibur was stuck in the stone. But now that Mr. Gold has so kindly removed that for her, she can reunite the 2 halves of the blade, which she does. Good job, Emma! She does it while Hallucination Rumpelstiltskin cheers her on, and Hallucination Nimue cheers her on, and Hallucination every other Dark One cheers her on. So there's just sort of like an army of robed, glowing-eyed figures hanging out in her hallway. Emma recalls when she was a child and Merlin asked her to not seize Excalibur, to not remove the sword from the stone. It takes a single sentence of encouragement from Hallucination Rumpelstiltskin, and she waves that away and grabs that sword. This is not the 3rd Dark One coded thing, by the way. This is just fine. Any of the characters would do this if they believed they were in the right for it. Any of them could justify this to themselves. That is not a Dark One coded thing. This is fine. David and Hook go to confront Arthur about the mushroom thing. Remember how he very poorly tried to destroy the mushroom they gave him to try and save the day with. Arthur does not answer his questions and instead books it into the forest where Hook gives chase really badly and Arthur gets him cornered.
Seems you brought a hook to a sword fight.
Actually, I brought a sword, but I seem to have misplaced it.
Shame.
Who saves the day? Who saves her boyfriend? But Emma Swan, the Dark One, completed, Excalibur in hand. Hook and Emma get all dramatic. Very, this isn't really you. You're still in there. Emma tells Hook she's doing all of this for him. He doesn't like that. They throw Arthur in jail now, which I maybe wouldn't have done because they didn't look into whatever made their last prisoner completely disappear into the wind. They don't even know that Griff is dead. They just think he's gone, and they don't know that Arthur did that. They just throw him in jail, and they argue about how they're going to save the day here. Regina thinks that Emma's plan is to snuff out all light magic forever. Emma has never said that, and that's also not Emma's plan. Regina just, thinks it is. Hook is the one who's like, we have no reason to believe that. We should figure out what she meant by saying this is for me. Because I don't want her to do that, so there's clearly something else going on. Hook seeks counsel from Gold. Emma apparently already stole all of Gold's squid ink, so nobody start talking about how they could just stop her with squid ink, because they can't. She stole it all. Also, Gold has no counsel for Hook. So Hook stands on the roof of the clock tower to call out for Emma, which doesn't work. So he jumps off the clock tower, knowing that she will appear just in time to save him. And she does. And that is what romance is. She finally promises to tell him the truth and brings him to her home. And then immediately says she can't tell him the whole truth yet. And smooches him and he passes out. So it was like a magic smooch, but an evil one. Over in Super Jail, something horrifying is happening. Zelina, 2 months pregnant, is rapidly progressing. Her stomach is swelling. Her baby is developing a month along, a minute at a time. It's really bad to think about. That's body horror. That's body horror in my Once Upon a Time. Zelina is ready to deliver the baby now. 2 months pregnant again. She's ready to deliver now. And did you miss Dr. Whale? Because I didn't think I missed Dr. Whale. And then I saw him on my television screen, and it brought me so much joy.
No, the last time I delivered a baby, you tried to steal it. But why try to steal one when making one is so much more fun, right? Dr. Whale.
Oh, he's so gross. Love him. Wish he wasn't blonde about it. It's Emma that did this to Zelina, that made Zelina ready to deliver right now, immediately. Regina believes that Emma did this because the last spell component she's missing to snuff out the light forever is the cries of a newborn child, which I guess would explain it. It's not what Emma's trying to do. I don't know why Regina's assuming this. And Zelina and Robin Hood's daughter is born. She does not have a name right now. The hospital labels her Baby Hood, which I find delightful. Robin Hood is so excited to have a daughter, and he's so, soft and sweet with the baby, and I feel so weird about it. Dark Emma Swan poofs into the hospital room, but she doesn't steal the baby. She's not here for the baby. She steals Zelina. So now Emma's got Hook and 1 hour postpartum Zelina chained up in her basement because Emma doesn't want to destroy light magic. She wants to destroy dark magic. She wants to destroy her dark magic. She wants it out of her body forever, but it needs a vessel. And that vessel is going to be Zelina. Emma is going to remove her own dark magic with Excalibur, put it into Zelina, and then kill Zelina with Excalibur, thereby getting rid of all of that magic forever. And that's why she needed the baby out of the Wicked Witch of the West, so that she could use and kill Neil Cassidy and Maid Marian's murderer with no moral qualms. Hook hates that plan because he's a coward. He unshackles Zelina and gives her her magic back, and Zelina unchains him. David and Regina and Mary Margaret are outside of Emma's house, also against this killing Zelina plan. Regina is against this fill Zelina with the dark magic and kill Zelina to get rid of Zelina and the dark one at the same time plan. What is wrong with you people? This is a good plan. Hook paralyzes Emma with the squid ink that she stole from Gold, and Zelina marches up and stabs Hook in the chest to get back at Emma. But it's not to kill him, because Hook doesn't die. He's okay. And the answer to why that is lies in a dream catcher, in memories that Emma stole from him. So why can Hook just get stabbed in the chest? No problem now. Let's go back to Camelot. In Camelot, Emma caught up with Henry and Granny at Granny's diner. She's making sure everybody's good. She's doing small talk when Merlin shows up, freezes them with magic, and tells Emma the new stakes. He's being controlled by Arthur with Excalibur, you remember. And if Emma doesn't hand over the flame of Prometheus, lit and functional, which it is not right now, to reunite the blades, Arthur is going to command Emma's family killed. They are currently all tied to trees in the forest, which, I don't think Regina Mills is just peacefully tied to a tree. I don't care how many of her evil sisters are guarding her. You're telling me Regina is just letting herself be tied to a tree with her magic powers intact? I don't think she is. I think you're wrong. Emma is trying to light the flame of Prometheus, but she's not connected to her magic enough. It's not working until Henry walks out to tell Emma that Hook had been real estate shopping in the paper. There was a newspaper that came over with them into Camelot, and he found what he believed was the perfect home for them, where they could move in together and create a future. And it's the house that Emma lives in now in Storybrooke. Hook picked it out. And Emma takes that to mean, don't give up. Embrace the darkness. Secure your future. I don't think that's probably how Henry meant it. But it's how Emma takes it anyhow. And she goes to save her family. She restrains Zelena. She has a magic battle with Merlin. Emma hits the ground. Arthur orders Merlin to kill Snow White, but Merlin resists. He's too good, but he can only hold off for so long. Who slips their chains? But Killian Jones, who is also part of the family tied to a tree. He fights Arthur, and the coward grabs Zelena and runs, leaving the big half of Excalibur behind. He leaves the sword that's controlling Merlin behind. He just grabs Zelena and goes. Me, personally, holding on to that would probably be my number one priority. What do you mean you just left that behind? Arthur did get Killian in the side of the neck with the sword before he ran, at least, but Emma healed that. No problem. Regina talks to Emma about the lure of the darkness, saying that she knows better than anyone how tempting it can be, and rolls up her sleeves and uses the dagger to control Emma into telling her what she is really so afraid of, why she won't let go of the darkness. But Emma's parents show up, and Hook shows up in time to tell Regina to knock that shit off. So what is Emma afraid of? She is afraid that the future she wants with Hook is coming too quickly. It's coming right now. As soon as she gets rid of the darkness, that future is going to start. And she is afraid that she's going to mess it up. Like, this isn't good, what's happening now. But as soon as this stops, she's back into uncertainty, into something that she could ruin. And admitting that and kissing Hook about it is what finally lights the flame of Prometheus. This is what unlocks her potential. They can finally reforge Excalibur. They've got the flame. They've got both halves. They get it, reunite, or they start getting it reunited. It starts to fuse, and then Hook's neck wound reopens. He's bleeding out on the ground. He's dying. Wounds from Excalibur, fun fact, actually cannot be healed. Similar to wounds from the Dark One dagger. We've seen similar to that before, but I guess just anybody who ever gets hit with Excalibur, that wound is forever open. Hook asks Emma to please still reunite the blades so that he can see it done. He can see her returned to her original form, but Emma can't. Not if there's a way to save Hook. Emma chooses to release Merlin from Excalibur. She untethers Merlin's soul from the sword and then tethers Hook to the sword, creating a second Dark One. She does this fully against Hook's will. She says she's going to, and he is begging and pleading for her not to do that. He dies saying that he is too weak for that kind of power, that he knows he won't be able to restrain himself, that he doesn't want to give into the darkness like that she can't do this to him, that he's just happy knowing Emma has a future. They can reunite the sword, they have everything they need, he can die happy knowing that she's happy. And she Dark Ones him Anyway, this is the other Dark One coded act, I think. Hook rises from the Dark One tar pit with a sexy new makeover, and he looks bad. That's how Emma gets her Dark One makeover as well. As soon as she does this to Hook, her hair gets toned because now she's fully Dark One. I agree. I think doing that to someone also makes you fully Dark One. He was begging and pleading as he was bleeding out on the ground. Just let him go. Yes, Hook's name has been on Excalibur this entire time. It has just been glamored in Storybrooke. It's been on Excalibur the entire time in Storybrooke. It's just been glamored so no one knew. And Zelena is prancing around, gloating and giggling. Like, sweetheart, you have a newborn right across town. Is that not your priority right now? I thought you were so invested in that kid. You don't care at all now? You just want to make these two feel bad? Who needs a kid? This plot point drove me crazy because so the whole time they've been in Storybrooke right now, just not like the whole time, the whole show, but this season, everything I've said about them being in Storybrooke, Hook has secretly been the Dark One, but even he didn't know it. And I guess him not knowing it meant that it wasn't affecting him. But I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's right. Because the second that Emma became the Dark One, she was tormented by visions, right? She was being besieged. There was a man dancing around on her shoulder going, Emma, Emma, I think we should be evil. I think we should do something evil today. And Hook has just been off scot-free. He's fine. Just because nobody else knew he was the Dark One and he didn't, that can't be how that works. I don't think you can secretly be the Dark One. I refuse. I refute this. It doesn't make any sense and I hate it. He hasn't even been like more mad or reckless than usual, right? He's been very standard Hook. He's been doing what he can to save Emma. He has been trying to make Henry feel better. He's like fully himself, his redeemed pirate self. And now that he knows he's the Dark One, he dives headfirst into evil mode immediately. And but nothing changed. Functionally, fundamentally, nothing changed. He knows now. It's been there the whole time. Ah! They drop this bomb. They drop this Hook is the Dark One and has been all season thing. And then they have a whole episode about Merida that none of the main characters are in. Emma's not in it. Hook's not in it. The Charmings aren't in it. It has nothing to do with anything. It's not related to anything. They're like, Hook's the Dark One. Don't think about it. Look. It's brave. I just want the show to follow its own rules. I don't need it to make sense in real world terms. I don't need it to be grounded. I want it to follow its own logic. I will live in your fiction. I will live in this world with you, but you have to let me live in it. You can't start tearing down the walls. Let me tell you about this Merida episode, I guess. Merida flashback in Dombrach. And she looks amazing. Her hair's kind of tamed and it's got braids in it, but it still looks very Merida. She's got some armor on. She looks fantastic. Her dad still looks like a cartoon, though. There's invaders coming in on the southern border and they're going to war. And Fergus, Merida's father, gets Merida a war tutor. And it's Mulan? I've missed Mulan so dearly. I love her so much. She's so cool. Why is she here? Mulan Merida team up, rife with sapphic potential. I will say, they nailed it on that front. At Fergus's behest, Mulan keeps Merida away from the actual battle that is being fought. She sort of tricks her into it, but don't worry, Merida sneaks off just in time to see her dad get killed by a masked knight. A couple years after that, Merida catches back up with Mulan, on a quest for her father's lost helm. It's magic and a witch needs it. Don't worry about it. Zelena and Arthur are also looking for that helm. This is while the Camelot stuff is happening. So it's like the Camelot stuff I explained happened. Zelena and Arthur got out of the situation where everyone's tied up on trees, and now they're here in Merida land for this helm, this magic helm that when you wear it, it makes other men fight your battles for you, no matter the danger. They're like 100%. They believe in whatever you believe. Let's go, boss. Arthur and Zelena steal Merida's bow, because it was her dad's bow, so they can use it to find Merida's dad's other possessions. And Mulan uses a scrap of fabric that they found on the battlefield to hopefully connect that to the killer. They need a locator spell on this, and this fabric that belonged to the guy that killed Merida's dad. It'll go back to the guy that killed Merida's dad, and then they're going to know who killed Merida's dad, and they can get revenge on the guy who killed Merida's dad. So they bring it to a witch so they can have a locator spell. But they're stopped by a wolf, a big, bad wolf, the witch's pet. But it's not a wolf. It's Ruby. Ruby's here. Controlled by the witch. She's been enthralled. They knock her out of it. She's fine now. I spent all of season 4 begging and praying for this woman to return. I really did. And now, here, in the Merida-centric episode of season 5, they offer me an explanation as to why there's been no Ruby. They actually sit down and explain it. At the end of season 3, after Prince Neil's christening ceremony, where they told everybody his name was Neil, and I was really normal about it, Ruby was pouting at Granny's because she's the only werewolf in the land without magic in that dimension. And she felt very alone and not understood. And she had been working with Tiny, with Anton. We don't get to see Anton, but we heard his name. They had been working together in the magic bean fields that were destroyed in season 3. Do you remember any of this? She was working with the giant, and all they could salvage from the fields was one magic bean. And with Mary Margaret's blessing, Ruby uses that magic bean to go back to the Enchanted Forest. I personally think she should have asked the whole town, hey, is there anybody else that wants to go back to the Enchanted Forest? Because surely, there's other people that miss their old life, at least somewhat. And magic beans are kind of the hot commodity. But she just uses it for just herself to go back to the Enchanted Forest. And she immediately gets cursed by a witch without ever finding another werewolf, the thing she came here for. Ruby! Great. Good. I'm glad we have an explanation. Honestly, I truly am. Now can we have the same thing for Archie? Where is my cricket? They don't need a witch anymore to find Fergus's killer now that they've got our favorite human bloodhound on their team. Forget what I said earlier about Merida and Mulan bringing untold sapphic potential into the space. Now that we've added Ruby to the mix, ladies, I've got a great idea, and it's got nothing to do with tracking down a helmet, but it might have something to do with head. Ruby tracks down the masked knight that killed Merida's father, and that masked knight was Arthur. King Arthur killed Merida Brave's father. Little Red Riding Hood uses her bloodhound abilities to track down the man who killed Merida Brave's father, and that man was King Arthur of Camelot. Sometimes I say something that is just so once upon a time that I have to stop and reflect. Arthur killed Fergus in battle, only to realize that Fergus wasn't wearing that magical helm in battle. He'd stashed it somewhere else. He'd thrown it into the sea. Because it wasn't right. It's not right to use that to make other men fight your battles. They have to make that choice for themselves. Merida's sword fights with King Arthur and all the other clan leaders show up to back her up. And Ruby sleeping powders Zelena to briefly get the witch out of the conflict until she wakes up a little bit and teleports her and Arthur away without the helmet. Merida has the helmet, and then she destroys it because she's got such good morals, and she would never use such a thing. And she gets her crown and her kingdom, and she gets some magic juice that lets her summon the ghost of her dad so she can talk to him one more time. And the whole episode means nothing because the helmet doesn't even matter. Mulan admits that she'd been wandering about trying to heal her broken heart. And listen, I forgive you, but you are on thin ice. And Ruby invites Mulan onto her quest to find more werewolves.
I might not be the best person to ask for dating advice. I kind of ate the only boyfriend I've ever had.
Yes, I think that disqualifies you.
And Merida's alone, ready to hunt King Arthur for sport. I guess I am happy to know that Ruby and Mulan are traveling the Enchanted Forest together. That knowledge does major legwork, in my opinion, of this arc of television as a whole. That kind of makes it worth it, just knowing they're out there. We don't even get to see it. Let's knock out the rest of the flashbacks in this arc right now, so then we can just explain how it actually ends in like a linear fashion, the way that time moves. Back to the main plot. Hook is the Dark One, but he's actually Dark One number 2. Emma is also the Dark One, except for how she's not evil at all. She's the same. First, let's talk about baby Hook, like 8-year-old Hook. When Hook was baby, his father sold him and his older brother Liam, who we met in flashbacks back in season 3, sold his sons into servitude to save his own skin and escape from the law on a little rowboat. This is objectively a bad thing to do to your sons. I think we can agree. Hook's father, not a good guy. When Hook's an adult, Regina, the evil queen at that time, asks him to kill her mother, Cora. But she needs to test him first, needs to make sure that he can resist temptation, that he can power through his own weaknesses, because Cora will try to exploit him. It's Cora. And the test is that Hook must kill his father, because his father is still alive. Over 100 years later, mind you, 150, 200, something like that. Hook's really old. His father, shortly after selling his sons into servitude, got hit with a sleeping curse. Uh-oh. And then, while he was sleeping cursed, he fell into true love with his sleeping cursed nurse. And she awoke him with true love's kiss. And then died shortly after. So he's alive. That woman's dead. Hand wave, whatever. Hook can relate to his father now as an adult in this situation because he lost Mila. He lost his love, and he decides not to kill his dad for Regina. They have both lost too much until Hook finds out that his dad had another son with this other woman, his true love. And he named that son Liam. He took his eldest son, his son he's sold into servitude, took his name and just gave it to his new son. This is new Liam. So Hook kills that guy, and yeah, I would too. Hope new Liam is doing well, wherever he is. Can we revisit what the Charmings named their new son? Or is that not the same to you? Is that different enough that we're all saying it's not weird? It's been over a season. I do still think it's weird. Years later, post not killing his dad, post the whole show, in Camelot, Hook is Dark-One, and he is pissed about it. I think, understandably, he asked the love of his life, with everything he had to not do this to him. She did this to him. And now he's being haunted by Rumpelstiltskin. Which is not helping. This hallucination Rumpelstiltskin, this phantom, is nudging Killian into taking his real revenge. Once and for all, you just have to go back to Storybrooke. You're the Dark One now. You have all the power. That guy has none of it. If you get us all back to Storybrooke, you can torture and kill him. Absolutely no problem. And this man loves himself some revenge. He always has. And he has been feeling pretty much exclusively anger for weeks. So he's pretty primed. He's pretty suggestible. And Hook's last straw is Emma. Emma lies to him. She tells him that Excalibur is elsewhere, but in fact, she has it so that she can control him if need be. He did say that he didn't think he could restrain himself, but she lies. She says, I believe in you. I think you can do it, while holding on to the self-destruct button in case he can't. That's Hook is deeply hurt. He doesn't take kindly to being controlled ever. And, he's been controlled quite a lot in his life in the show. He doesn't like being lied to. And she did this to him in the first place. If there's anybody that needs to be treating him very kindly and carefully, it is Emma Swan. To try and appease him, she does give him Excalibur and, gives him all the power over himself in the situation. And he is not a very responsible boy with it. He is not to be trusted with it. Hook is going to go back to the land without magic. He is going to kill himself a crocodile. He doesn't want to get on Darkwand. No. Emma still wants to get on Darkwand. She wants both of them cured. Hook is not interested. And he barely pretends he does for even a second just to get the upper hand. Hook is gonna cast himself a dark curse. Yep. That's how the third curse happened, is Hook did it. Hook did it. And what is the main ingredient for a dark curse? Why, it is the heart of the person you love most, squished into sand in the cauldron. But even mega evil and super mad at her, Hook would never sacrifice Emma Swan. He is too wife guy for that. And you cannot take the wife guy out of the Dark One. Look at Rumpelstiltskin. You can't do it. Loophole. Because he is the Dark One, he is technically every Dark One, because they're all in his head. So he doesn't need to kill his true love. He can kill Nimue's true love. And I would like to say, if he can just pick any Dark One and kind of summon them and have them control him and kill their true love, take Bells, babe. What do you mean? What? Why are you killing Merlin? You're gonna take Merlin's heart. Because after all this time, Nimue has never stopped loving Merlin, even though she's, dead and angry. And she can help Hook tear out Merlin's heart and squish it into the big pot. And he does do that. But Hallucination Rumpelstiltskin has also been bothering him. He hates that guy so bad. He wants to inflict every pain onto his crocodile. Why would you not take Belle's heart for this? I know Hook kind of likes Belle, but Hook falls fully down the evil train so fast. I don't think Dark One Hook likes Belle very much. I don't think he likes anybody at all, quite frankly. It feels more dramatic to me. That feels better to me. I don't care about Merlin. Merlin's fine. He's been a tree for most of this season, and when he's around, he's kind of cute. He's kind of fun. We just got Merlin. I've had Belle for 5 seasons. If you want me to be emotionally invested, do this to the characters I'm emotionally invested in. It would not be a hard... So you could even have Nimue be like, you can take my true loves because I am the Dark One as well. Have the little gears turn in his head and go, I just need a Dark One's true love. And go grab Belle. What the fuck is Belle gonna do to stop you? It's Belle. Not that I want Belle to die, because I don't. I like her. Do something I care about. Hook steals Merlin's heart and squishes it into the big pot, and Merlin is dead in the arms and what have you. Should I also have crossed off Nimue? That feels weird because we didn't actually see her die. And she's being a problem right now. I'm gonna leave her for now. Hook banishes Excalibur back into its stone. Sword still not reforged in Camelot, not at all. Emma's got the daggery bit. Hook had the sword bit. He sends it back to the stone. Emma cannot stop the Dark Curse, even as the Dark One. Not once it's begun, but she can fuck it up a little bit. She can change it. Much like how the portal at the beginning of the season, they couldn't open it, but once it was opened, they could mess about in there. So Emma steals a bunch of memories, including most of Hook's. I mean, she steals the 6 weeks from everybody, right? But she very intentionally is trying to make sure that nobody, including Hook, remembers that Hook was the Dark One. She doesn't want them to know anything that had happened at all, so she can try and fix this on her own in Storybrooke without Hook being evil about it and without anybody else getting in the way of her plan or telling her that this isn't how it's done, whatever. You know, she'll take care of it. Everybody else can have a nap. She tells a passed out, unconscious Hook that when he wakes up, he'll be the man who loved her. I don't think that's how that works. Is that them trying to explain that he didn't know he was the Dark One, that it was like a hypnosis thing? Because I'm not buying that. And then the Dark Curse rolls over the land and scoops everyone up and deposits them back into Storybrooke, okay? Now you know everything that happened in that 6 week span in Camelot. Let's go back to Storybrooke. Zelena finally decided that she cares enough about her daughter to go get her, to go see the baby. Not enough to name the baby. Baby still doesn't have a name. And Regina and Robin agree to let her see the baby if it's like a supervised visit. So, you know, great. We have 2 infants now. Maybe they'll remember this one exists. And Hook is going full evil mode. Now that he's fully aware that he's the Dark One and he should have been doing evil shit all season, he steals some of Emma's memories so she doesn't know what his grand plan is, and says a lot of really mean words to her. Calls her like a selfish orphan and a bunch of other things specifically to hurt her as much as possible. And then challenges Mr. Gold to a sword fight, to a duel on the deck of the Jolly Roger. He very kindly heals Mr. Gold's limp, so it's fair. Gets one good slice in on Gold before Hook is bested and teleports away. It was all a farce. He just needed a little bit of Gold's blood, and that was what he thought was the best way to do. He challenged Gold in the pawn shop. Like, he showed up in the pawn shop to say, come duel me on the Jolly Roger. You're the Dark One, my man. You could have just walked up, done a little, like, intimidation, like, cut on the side of his face or something, and said, like, you'll just have to see what I have planned for you, or something. And then left. You didn't have to... You didn't have to pretend to get beaten a sword fight. He needed Gold's blood because he needed the blood of a man who had been to hell and back, because Gold died and I guess went to hell. For Gold's part, he tries to have like a real heart-to-heart with Belle as a changed, unmagical man, and she fucking leaves his ass.
Some part of me will always love you. But you have broken my heart too many times. There's too much broken trust. But I've changed.
She acknowledges that she needs space, that she needs time, that she doesn't even know if she wants to make this work with him, even though he is objectively a different man, right? Like, he's right. He's changed. He's not the Dark One right now. You can look at all of the names he's got on this picture. Not a one of them says Dark One. But it doesn't change what their history is. It doesn't change how hurt she has been. I was hooting and hollering at the TV like my sport team just scored a winning goal. This is my Super Bowl. This is consequences. This is the conclusion that Belle should have come to a long time ago. And she did, right? Like last season, they did this. And then she went back, kind of. And now she's doing it again. Maybe this time, it'll stick. The real pattern that you should notice about Belle and Gold is that Gold is almost exclusively only nice to her, only good and truthful to her when he's losing. He is almost exclusively good to Belle when he doesn't have another choice, when he desperately needs an ally, when his magic is gone for some reason, when everything is out of his control in one way or another. That's when he's nice to his wife. When he has the upper hand, you go back and check the tapes. Anytime he's got more power than she does in a situation, he's using it. He's exploiting it. He's lying to her. And I think she's finally made that connection. I think she made that connection last season, but I think she's maybe internalizing it a little more here. And she's stepping away. As she should. Henry helps Emma find those memories that Hook stole, and they find out Hook's grand plan, and it's a doozy. Hook is going to summon every dead Dark One from the underworld and resurrect them. For reasons. I'm gonna be so honest, this comes fully out of nowhere and it is pretty poorly explained, but that's what he's doing. The why is here's what matters. All of the Dark Ones that have ever been are here. They're a crowd of nearly identically dressed hooded figures in black robes, and to be actually resurrected, they each need to mark a living person to trade places with. They mark Regina, Robin, Mary Margaret, David, Henry, Gold, and the 6 remaining dwarves with the mark of Charon, the ferryman to the underworld who's here awaiting them. And if nothing changes by the time the moon is at its peak, this should sound familiar from the Robin Hood thing earlier, they will all die painfully and go directly to the underworld, and the resurrected Dark Ones will remain to cause chaos because evil. Gold insists there's absolutely nothing they can do about this. They just need to make their peace with their families and get ready. Just get ready for it. Gold sends Belle out of town in his car with another new magical protection. He used the last one on a bear, so I don't know. He got another one. Send her off in his car to go see the world. It's a selfless maneuver. He just wants her to be safe. He does not tell her the truth of what's happening. He wants her out of here for this. And she goes. Mary Margaret, David, and Henry all have dinner at Granny's. But Emma doesn't join them because she is too busy, sadly, planning to die. Emma and Regina get Excalibur back from Gold so that they can channel all the darkness into Emma and then sacrifice Emma. This would end the darkness forever, but Gold warns them it might not work because Excalibur chooses its heroes and chooses its miracles, but they don't have a better plan. This is what they're going with. Also, Regina and Robin Hood banish Zelena back to Oz. Regina just believes she's strong enough to use Merlin's wand now. And she is. Zelena's gone. They keep the baby. They keep the baby. The baby stays with the nuns, with Mother Superior up there. Zelena's gone. Good riddance. I know I'm going to have to see her again. I'll save her a couple episodes without her. Robin is going to be a great girl dad. You know, I hope Roland likes being a brother. It is fucked up to take her baby from her. Like, I know that they don't seem to think that they can trust her with the baby. She has done absolutely nothing to make them believe that she wishes the baby any harm or wants to do anything other than just mother the baby. They could have let her keep the baby, but they don't. Like, that's kind of fucked up. I don't miss her, though, you know? Hook finds Emma in her home, the home he picked for them to live together, and tricks her. into handing over Excalibur. It's a really long conversation where Emma cries and Hook is really rude. And I was just sitting there thinking, why is the only physical change that Hook got for being the Dark One is like his hair is greasier and they part it the other way. Like, it would have been hard to make him sexier. I know that, but they didn't have to try to make him look worse, right? In the final confrontation by the water, Hook has Excalibur and the heroes have naught but their words. Emma tries her best to interfere, but Nimue force chokes her to tell her to knock that off and keep her away from their evil plans. And this, finally, is the thing that makes Hook kind of snap out of it and come back to the real Hook and not the Dark One Hook. It does take a minute. He watches Emma choke for a while. Hook raises Excalibur and absorbs all of the Dark Ones into it and kind of channels them into himself. And then hands the sword to Emma. And it's up to her to take the sword and strike Hook down with it and end the darkness forever. She doesn't want to, of course, but she does. He needs her to, and she has to. Emma is back to normal, and so is Hook. No more Dark Ones. Hook's normal, unfortunately, is dying. His base state is dying, and there is nothing they can do. And he's gone. In the arms of the angels. Actually, he's going to hell. In even worse news, Belle comes back to town because Henry told her the truth about why Gold sent her away and how it was an act of true selflessness, and she's come back for her man. For her beast! And they, happily reunite. And they're together again. God damn it! She was away for less than an episode. Less than an episode! But at least there's no more Dark Ones? Gold is the Dark One again. Yeah. He messed with Excalibur while he had it in his possession in his shop. And Hook was not destroying the darkness. He was becoming a conduit and sending all the darkness unknowingly into Gold. So Gold now has the power of every Dark One who has ever lived. And he's lying to Belle about it. So Hook died for nothing. In a way, this cannot stand. And Emma has great blackmail material on Gold. Because of course she does. Everyone always has great blackmail material on Gold. He's always lying to his wife. If he just stopped doing that, people would have so much less leverage over him. Has he ever considered this? No. No, he hasn't. So Emma can demand that Gold open a gateway to the underworld so she can run in there and quick grab Hook. Her plan is to do the exact same thing that her parents did. Take her heart, split it in two, so she keeps half, and Hook has half, because her heart is the living one, and that means that he can come back. That's the plan. Now, obviously, Emma can't go to hell alone. She needs to bring her entire family, including her 13-year-old child. I love the kid. I do. I love having him on the adventures. Don't bring him into the underworld. What's wrong with you? Gold pours some of his tainted Dark One blood into the lake, and he goes along with Emma, Mary Margaret, David, Henry, Regina, and Robin Hood, all descending into the underworld to save Hook's soul. And that's the end of the arc. What was any of that? What was any of that? If you loved the Dark Swan arc, once again, I'm so happy for you. I truly am. something about it. I was not having fun. I think the Camelot stuff just did not hit with me. King Arthur did not hit with me. Merida felt so out of place, but they like kept having her in the peripheries and having her do stuff. I don't know. The Underworld arc is a lot more my shit. At least the beginning of it is, which I know a lot of people who said that they couldn't get through it. But the beginning of it in particular is so my shit. We'll get into it. We will. We absolutely will. And we can leave behind Dark One Emma Swan and Dark One Hook forever, because we have the one true Dark One back in play. The status quo has been restored, except for how Emma's boyfriend is in hell. Let's let them fix that, shall we? Fit check. Guess who? I couldn't find my hook. Have you ever torn through your home for 20 minutes looking for your hook, your pirate hook, your little hook hand hook? Torn the whole home apart, and at the end of it, you still couldn't find it? Me neither. Sounds embarrassing. Had to go with Killian, though. Simply had to. Rest in peace, my man. Hope hell is going well. He doesn't even wear a red vest anymore. Who cares? I'm season 2 Hook. I'm OG Hook. Actually, I have 2 hands, so I'm pre-meeting the Dark One Hook. I'm in love with Mila. That's the Hook I am. I don't care who knows it. We have much to discuss and no time to waste. So let's jump into the underworld. All of our heroes descend into the underworld, and Neal Cassidy. Sorry, I'm very calm. Neal Cassidy is here. Neal, Henry's biological father, who died unceremoniously in the middle of season 3 at the hands of Zelena. Son of Rumpelstiltskin. You remember Neal? You remember that I was really normal about Neal. He appears to Emma Swan in a vision of sorts in their yellow 1972 Volkswagen Super Beetle, just to let her know that she's not gonna find him in hell. He's not here. Neal Cassidy has no unfinished business, and that is the reason that souls stay in the underworld that they're visiting right now. It's souls that did not move on to their final resting place for one reason or another, and Neal's good. He's happy. He is in a better place. He doesn't want anybody to worry about him. He doesn't want them to look for him, and he kisses them on the forehead and says goodbye, and he leaves. And he's gone forever now. She's back with everyone else in the underworld. And that's officially the last time we're ever going to see Neal Cassidy. I am a little obsessed that he didn't bother appearing to his father as much as they were supposedly all good at the end there. That does make sense. And I'm going to pretend he also quick dropped in a message to his son, because he loved that kid so bad. And Henry just doesn't want to talk about it. It's a really sensitive topic for him right now. We're opening with 30 seconds of Neal Cassidy. My God, what a tease designed specifically for me. This arc of television is in many ways specifically for me. For example, the underworld, when they officially arrive, is just Storybrooke. It's the same set. It's just the town of Storybrooke, Maine, but there's a red filter slapped over it. It's warm-toned Storybrooke. That's hilarious. That rules. The clock tower is broken and smashed in the middle of the road, so that's how you know this place is evil and bad. And this whole place is chock-a-block full of dead characters living their best afterlives. Cruella is here. Cruella's here, just swanning around town. And the sheriff here in Underworld Storybrooke is, evil Prince Charming. James Charming, David's twin brother, who was raised by King George from infancy, who died back forever and ever ago by dragon. You remember James Who doesn't love James Charming? James does a little bit of assault. As a treat, he makes out with Snow White, who is under the impression that he is her husband. That's our reintroduction to James. I've covered up Nimue. I have no loyalty to her. And the diner here is not run by Granny on account of how Granny is alive, but is actually owned and operated by the blind witch. The witch who killed Hansel and Gretel back in season 1. The one episode we knew Hansel and Gretel for. They're not on my board. They were children that we knew for a single episode. The blind witch is here. We have not seen hide nor hair of her since that single flashback with her very silly-looking house back in season 1, and it's because she's queening out in hell. And her energy is genuinely so fun. There's not really a reason for me to put her on the board, except that I love her. Every time she's on screen, she is joking about eating children and chewing on the scenery and looking fantastic. I really like what she has going on. Who else is in the underworld? Running the underworld version of Mr. Gold's pawn shop? Mr. Gold's father, of course! Peter Pan! Now, Peter Pan is still on the board. We're just gonna have to get him. Just gonna have to unearth him. Now, who do we let keep the spot? Because it was Peter Pan's first, but he is dead, so we'll just put Pan right up there, right next to his great-grandson. They put Peter Pan in a little suit, and they combed his hair, and he tells Gold that he should leave. While the leaving is easy, because it won't be for long, and also how he would just love to go back to the living world if only somebody could get him a living heart. You know, if somebody was so inclined to help him out. And then he just hands over the potion that Gold was in the pawn shop looking for in the first place. Just hands it over, no price, no questions, and then fucks off into the night. We don't see him again for so long. They put him in front of us. They go, here he is, Peter Pan is here, bye. Where does he go? He leaves a note behind for his son saying Gold can just have free reign of the pawn shop while he's gone and take whatever he likes because they hate me and my joy and because Pan has more important stuff to do. And stuff, I firmly believe, thy name is Felix. We don't see Felix down here, but if there is anyone with unfinished business, it's Felix every time. I've chosen to believe that Felix is living in the woods outside of Underworld Storybrooke, like a little merry man, you know? He's got a treehouse somewhere. And him and Pan still have the weirdest possible thing going on. Felix, as you certainly recall, was Pan's right-hand man that got sacrificed to a dark curse back in season 3. The person Pan loved most in the world, if you'll recall, yes, I'm still thinking about their dynamic. They showed me Pan again. It's only fair. The potion that Pan gave Gold is the same magic juice that Merida used to talk to her dead dad. It's just magic juice that like summons souls, and all the souls in the underworld have a tombstone in the cemetery nearby. And there's like a little code to the tombstones. If the tombstone is upright and intact, that soul is in the underworld, they're present, you could find them. If the tombstone is tipped over, then that soul has moved on to a better place. And if that tombstone is cracked in twain, that soul has moved on to a worse place. Daniel, for example, Regina's old fiance, his headstone is tipped, which means he's moved on, he's good wherever he is, but Hook has a regular headstone, which means he is kicking around in the underworld somewhere. But when they try to summon him or talk to him, they just get a brief little flash that tells him he's definitely being tortured somewhere. He's not doing well. He's never doing well. He doesn't get a moment of peace the whole season. Regina also uses a little bit of the magic juice to contact her father, Henry Sr., the man that our Henry was named after. But Henry Sr. is being threatened by somebody that would like to use him as leverage to manipulate Regina, somebody who is the mayor of Underworld Storybrooke. And it's Cora fucking Mills. Cora is here, of course. Where else would she be? I know. I know where else Cora could be. Cora threatens to throw Henry Sr. into the river of fire and forcibly send his soul to the bad place if Regina doesn't take her son and her soulmate, Henry and Robin, and just leave everyone else to their heroic journey alone. If Regina's not going to make a selfish choice here. Betray your friends, Cora cries. Reverse your character development, Cora demands. Regina refuses, and she and Henry Jr. find Cora and Henry Sr. at this sort of crossroads of moving on. It's like a rock suspended over an abyss. You know how it is. Cora means to punish Regina here, right, by dooming her father to eternal torment. But Henry Sr.'s unfinished business, it turns out, was that Regina never stopped living under her mother's influence. He was never enough to save her from Cora, and Regina was never able to really be her own person. But here Regina is, defying Cora, making good-hearted choices. So Henry Sr. is able to move on to the better place, to the good place, because his unfinished business has been resolved. And you know what that means? It means that the heroes can take a million different side quests this arc to help a bunch of folks finish their business instead of focusing on saving Hook and going home. Okay, so Cora is the mayor of Underworld Storybrooke, but she does not rule the Underworld. Thank God. That honor goes to Hades. Like that Hades, like the Greek god Hades, but also like Disney's Hercules' Hades, because every now and then he gets a head full of blue CGI fire, and it looks terrible every single time. This guy sucks. I'm so sorry. Did you guys like him? People who were really into the show back in the day, did we like Hades? Because I can't stand him. The way he talks drives me crazy. He puts pauses in the weirdest parts of sentences, and I know that I don't have any legs to stand on about that, but I don't like it when he does it. I'm fine. It's okay when I do it. I'm not trying to be a big, intimidating ruler of hell. I'm just trying to be a little jester for you, okay? Hades, he talks really slow as well. He's really monotonous. He has no charisma. I don't want him here. And he's here for so long.
Why does everyone say that you can't kill me? I'm Hades. This is death.
Hades is mad at Cora for failing to get Regina to leave, so he sentences her, punishes her, with being a miller's daughter forever again. Sure, why not? Hey, did you know that when Snow White was a teenager, she had a crush on Hercules? Like Hercules? Like the demigod Hercules? She met him and they really got along, and he was her first kiss. Now you do. I did also just want to say that young Snow White is perfect. She's perfect. She's been perfect the whole show. As she's gotten older, she's gotten more perfect. She mimics Ginnifer Goodwin's facial expressions so well. She's a master of her craft. Anyway, she kissed Hercules, like Hercules, while he was on his way to finish his final trial, which was killing Cerberus. Don't look at the myth, but Hercules didn't kill Cerberus. He got super-eated by Cerberus and died. And now he's kicking it in the underworld, unfinished business coming out of his ears. And a girl he met the same day that he died, actually in the same fight that he died, a young woman named Megara, is also in the underworld, but she is not vibing on the underworld's docks and doing manual labor like Herc. She is trapped in a labyrinth with Captain Hook, where Cerberus haunts the halls and keeps them trapped. She's not exactly what I think of when I think of Megara, but that's fine. She's pretty cute. Hook helps Meg escape and instructs her to find Emma Swan. She does, of course. And in the process, she also finds Hercules, who's catching up with his old friend Snow White, who's so much older and more married and a mother than he remembers her being. They all help Hercules kill Cerberus once and for all, therefore finishing Herc and Meg's unfinished business, and those two cross over to somewhere better, and I cannot believe they introduced these little babies as Hercules and Megra, and then get rid of them in the course of a single episode. It's so fast! Cruella corners Henry and demands he use his author powers to write her back to life, which he can't do because he broke his magic pen. Do you remember season 4? I hope you do. He broke his magic pen, and its soul, the soul of the magic pen, went to the underworld. He sent the pen to hell. Henry does say no for his part. He wouldn't even if he could because obviously he doesn't like her. She was mean to his dog. They're in Hell, Storybrooke, right? And the Charming's apartment still exists, but it's not being lived in by somebody else. It's just empty and waiting for them. It has like their family portraits underneath sheets. That would send me into a crisis personally, knowing there's a place in purgatory just patiently waiting for me, but that's fine. They have a home base in hell. If you're going to say something about me using the terms underworld, purgatory, and hell like they're all interchangeable, don't. I'm just going with whatever word is funniest to me in the moment. There's no thought process behind it. Those words are all the same word for this video. We're all just gonna have to get on board with that. Hades has Hook in his own little chamber of soul rivers and stone bridges now, and he's a little trial of his own for the pirate because Hook's stupid idiot hero friends have freed 3 whole souls from the underworld now. Herc, Meg, and Henry Sr. So Hook has to choose 3 of his friends who will be unable to leave, who will be trapped here forever to replace those 3 souls that they have let loose. He asks bleeding, tortured Hook to please carve the names of 3 of his friends onto blank tombstones, which is a terrible task, even if you're not bleeding and tortured. Just please use your Hook hand to chisel into stone for me. Hook doesn't do it. Obviously. Why would he if he could just not do that? Nobody was making him. Nothing happens if he doesn't. Bad task. Guess who else is in the underworld? Lots of guys, but also Mila! Mila? You remember Mila. Mila was Rumpelstiltskin's first wife, not only wife anymore, Balefire, or Neil Cassidy's biological mother, and Hook's ex-girlfriend. Mila's unfinished business is her guilt over abandoning her son, because, you know, she ran off with Hook and left her husband and child behind forever, all that. So here in the underworld, she's guiding children, dead children, like she's a crossing guard, keeping little dead children safe, and she's been doing that for centuries now to try and atone for the ways that she did not and could not protect her boy. Gold tracks her down in the underworld because he needs an unliving soul to go with him and Emma into Hades's secret chambers so they can just grab Hook and get out of this place. It's kind of like the concept of covering yourself in zombie guts so that the zombies can't sense you. Her dead guy aura will overpower the spells that keep living guys out of Hades' space. Worst guy to pick for this job. Oh my God, pick anyone else. He knows Mila will do it because they're saving Hook and she genuinely really did love Hook, but oh my God, anyone else, dude. There's lots of decent people here. Leave your ex-wife alone. Someone is finally, in canon, addressing how insane the web of dynamics surrounding Emma and Mila all is, though. And it is Mila. It is Mila who addresses that.
You've been with my former lover and my son. Is that right?
Huh.
I'm sure we're going to laugh ourselves sick about all this one day.
Sorry you had to find out this way. At least Emma tells her that Balefire is at rest. that Valefire's happy and good somewhere better, which does wrap up Mila's unfinished business. So as soon as they get Hook back, Mila can move on. She can pass on to somewhere better, and she never has to look at her ex-husband ever again. They row a little boat across the River of Souls. Emma runs off to go save Hook from a fucking saw trap that Hades has rigged him up in. And then Hades appears to Gold. He says, hey, man, don't take that boat back home with everyone. What if instead you actually destroy this boat? I'll get you back home. Easy peasy. I'll handle it. But just you. Though, just you. I'll get you home easy peasy. If you make sure none of these really annoying hero types escape my domain. Gold says okay, because he's the worst. And then to keep Mila from tattling on him, he throws her into the River of Souls. So she can never move on and will instead live in a sort of half form forever, an eternity of torment and despair. If you've seen the Disney animated movie Hercules, the river with all the little green ghosty guys in literal eternal torment, that's what he throws Mila into. She has spent her afterlife watching over dead children. She was an hour away from retirement. She didn't even get to see Hook again. It was going to be a weird reunion, I'm sure, but it was promised to her. And she probably would have found at least a little bit of closure from the whole thing. She'll never see her kid again. The kid she's been waiting to see again for centuries. Waiting centuries to just see at peace. Finally? That's fine. Whatever. Mr. Gold Based Moments compilation or what have you. Can someone please find Belle and tell her the things she has to look forward to? She's already dead and she's been dead, so I couldn't cross her out again. But I added a little water droplet so you know that now, not only is she dead, she's a sad part of a river. Okay, so we've got Hook back. Successfully. Don't worry about what happened to Mila. Hades did it, probably. It's time to split Emma's heart in two and give Hook half, allowing them to live off the power of true love alone, the same way that the Elder Charmings do. Except, we can't, because Hook has been dead for a little while now, and he doesn't really have, like, a functional body to return to. It's been too long. It doesn't work. So Emma keeps her whole heart, and we need a new plan. Plus, Hades just went ahead and decided which souls he wanted to keep trapped since Hook didn't decide for him. He wants to keep Emma Swan, Snow White, and Regina Mills. Because he hates women? I don't know. They can't leave. And neither can Hook. But that's not different. That's been the rule the whole time. And then, okay, I'm going to get mad. But I'm going to try not to get mad. There's a flashback where we learn that a long time ago, baby Balefire, like 6 or 7 year old Balefire, got really sick. He got bit by a snake and he was dying. And Rumpelstiltskin and Mila were very poor and could not afford the magic required to cure him. It just wasn't possible. And so Mila turned to her husband, who, remember, his only character trait is coward, turned to her husband and said, guess you're going to have to kill that guy. Guess you're going to have to kill that magic user that's got the magic we need to cure our son. And demanded that Rumpel go kill that guy? Mila, my love, you should just try to kill that guy yourself, probably. It's got to go better. Because Rumpelstiltskin does not kill that guy. He thinks about it, he tries, but instead, he makes a deal. But don't you know it, all magic comes with a price. And the thing that this Rumpelstiltskin, pre-Dark One, pre-everything, who does not understand consequences to his actions, the thing he's agreed to trade away in return for the magic that will save Balefire is his second child. And Mila is devastated because she feels like this is one more thing that she will never have, thanks to her husband that she super hates. Even though, of course, she's overjoyed that Balefire is okay. But now, if they ever did want to have a second child, I don't think she did. I can't imagine she wants to have more children with this man. if they did, they can't. He took away that choice without even asking her. And then Mila meets Hook. There's instant sparks. The rest is history. So why does it matter that Rumpelstiltskin signed away his second child? He and Mila only ever had Balefire. Because Belle is pregnant. Belle is pregnant. They celebrated too hard at the end of the Dark Swan arc, and Belle is pregnant. Gold found out when he attempted to scry on his son, the son that did not bother to talk to him when he entered the underworld, and the scrying showed him Belle. And Hades knows because he's been spying on Gold, so he also saw how that scry went. And the guy Gold made that deal with is kicking it in the underworld and happily transferred ownership of the contract to Hades. So now Hades has a claim to Belle's child that she doesn't even know she has yet. Good. Yes. Cool. Cool. I want to take Belle far away from this place. Oregon? Maybe. She'd like the big trees and the cryptids. Actually, I know this polydactyl scientist that I really think she'd hit it off with. Guess who else is in the underworld? Liam Jones. Hook's big brother. Liam number 1, not to be confused with Liam the sequel, who their very bad father had with his true love many, many years after original Liam's death. You remember. Liam Jones has unfinished business. His unfinished business is this. When he and Killian were working for Captain Long John Silver, Liam took a deal with Hades. Casually. Killian had gambled away all their money. They didn't have a chance to escape and go join the King's Navy and make something better themselves. So, yeah, why not, man? Go with Hades, I guess. His deal that he makes causes the death of Captain Silver and the entire crew, sans Killian. Killian's fine. They perish in a horrific storm. And he also gets his hands on a mystical magical gemstone that the king himself has been coveting for years, called the Eye of the Storm. So he and Killian can hand over a priceless artifact to the crown and get honored positions on the flagship of the Royal Navy, the Jewel of the Realm, the same ship that later becomes the Jolly Roger post-mutiny. Killian, of course, never learned about this deal that Liam made, so he's stoked to see Liam in the underworld. But little does he know, Liam is still in Hades' pocket. The heroes want to find the exclusive underworld edition of Henry's storybook, which will surely contain pages about Hades, Hades' weaknesses. Hades does not want them to find that because it's a collector's edition. That's a joke. I worry that you won't be able to tell what things I say are jokes anymore because of how the show is. He doesn't want them to find it because it's got his secrets in it. Emma is suspicious of Liam the whole time. And of course, she's right to be. Liam finds and squirrels away the pages about Hades. Captain Silver shows up to tattle about Liam's deals to Hook and then tries to kill them both, by which, I mean, he tries to send them both to the bad place. But this finishes Liam's business. And he goes somewhere better. Cool. Whatever. I don't care about Liam Jones. I'm sorry. The thing that matters is there's more information in an underworld storybook, and they don't get to have it because Liam grabbed those pages for Hades before they could look at them. That's what matters. Henry goes on a road trip with Cruella to find his undead author quill. The apprentice is also down here. Why not? Henry gets his quill. He considers Cruella's stupid offer and then decides to only ever use the quill to record events as they happen, never to alter reality, which is his job. But he is going to start writing things down like he was supposed to as the Merlin-chosen author instead of sending his pen to hell, which is really the only thing he's done with it so far. Also, it turns out that James Charming and Cruella are banging on the regular. David makes out with Cruella while pretending to be his evil twin, but she knows that it's David because he's too boring and calm. It's kind of funny, actually. It's only because they're both fully aware of who it is they're actually making out with the whole time, and like neither of them are into it. You didn't have to commit to it, guys. That doesn't lead to anything. It just happens. Those pages Liam hid away, though, Hades has them back. His own little storybook pages full of secrets. Secrets such as his secret true love, his secret lost love, the one who got away, the only woman Hades would ever go soft for. Persephone? Nope, it's not Persephone. Who's that? It's Zelena. Are you serious? How do Zelena and Hades even know each other? Let me tell you about it, I guess. Forever ago in Oz, Zelena kidnapped the Scarecrow, who looks so small and silly, because she wants to use him for her time travel spell. You recall the time travel spell. She needed a brain and a heart and a baby. You remember. But then Dorothy busts in, no longer a child. She's returned to Oz, a young woman, ready to save her friends and face Zelena, and she gets the Scarecrow to safety. Hades is deeply attracted to Zelena's wicked and angry soul. And he just shows up after that incident and volunteers to help her get the Scarecrow's brain. And also just admits that he's always going to be limited to the underworld alone until he gets a true love's kiss, which is a crazy thing to say on the first date to me. But also, he says that in Oz. So, I don't think that's the underworld. Maybe it's just that his powers are limited when he's not in the underworld. He kind of words it as like he's trapped in the underworld until he gets true love's kiss. And that's why he can't just like go fuck around in Storybrooke, because he doesn't have a beating heart. But he's in Oz. He says this while in Oz. Hades and Zelena have a cute little bike ride through the woods and they steal a man's brain together. Couple goals. Zelena won't kiss him because she's worried that he's just using her, which is not how true love's kiss works. Live your truth, but let's think about this for a second. You can't just use someone for a true love's kiss. You have to be true loves. And then Zelena asks him to just leave Oz forever, please. And he does. And Hades never got over her. In the present time, Zelena will stop at nothing to get her baby back. She gets back to Storybrooke. Remember, interdimensional travel is fun and easy for the whole family, and tries to steal her unnamed daughter from where Belle and Mother Superior are taking care of her. They're also taking care of Prince Neil. I bet Ashley and Aurora would have done a much better job with the babies, if anyone cares. Why would you ever hand your infant to the Blue Fairy? Woman who famously punishes children with being a puppet. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Gold is opening a portal for Hades to bring Zelena's baby to hell. The portal sucks in the baby as it was meant to, but it also sucks in Zelena and Belle. We're adding to the Hell Gang. Belle finds her husband Nemesis and learns that she is pregnant. There's an active deal for her baby, and Gold is fully the Dark One again. And she's in hell. Bad day for Belle. Things have been better for Belle in the past, for sure. Gold tells her that he's never gonna change. And she only loves him because he is both man and beast. Not because there's a man behind the beast. And he looks forward to her choosing him again anyway. It's so fucked up. Zelena goes to Team Hero for help finding her baby, so Regina and Robin help her track down Belle, and they retrieve the child. Zelena wants to be a good mom and to keep her baby safe from Hades, but she's not strong enough to protect her daughter alone in the literal underworld, so she's on Team Hero now. Again, that went really well last time. I'm glad we're trying again. She does confront Hades and say he can never have her daughter, that whatever he's after, he will not find. But he wanted to bring the baby here to protect her from Team Hero. And he says Zelena will always have a place here, will always be welcome here. He's just waiting for her to come home. They do not have chemistry. Ah, I hate this Hades so bad. Like, he's making me like Zelena more just by virtue of being next to her and being so much worse to perceive. Is that what they were trying to do? Was that intentional? Also, in the background, Snow White and David learn about a magical payphone they can use to haunt their infant son so he can still hear their voices sometimes. They spend a lot of time on this, and it makes me feel gross for reasons I cannot articulate. Guess who else is in the underworld? Are you sick of this bit yet? They just keep doing it. It's Gaston. Belle's old fiance, Gaston, that Gold killed back in the day. But don't worry about it. Gaston sucked even then. He tortured a teenage ogre, literally just cuz, in the early days of the Ogre Wars. We get a whole flashback just to tell us Gaston sucks. I knew that one already. Gaston is in the underworld working for Hades. He's got a quiver full of insta-death arrows and orders to use them. Hades also has a deal he proposes to Belle if she allows Gold and Gaston to have a showdown with a soul victor. A fight where one of them ends up tossed into the River of Souls and the other remains. He'll release the contract on her baby, no matter who wins. Baby Gold will be born a free man. Belle does want to try and peacefully finish Gaston's business, whatever that might be, but of course, her husband and her ex get into a fight at the docks right next to the River of Souls, and in her panic to protect Gold, who of course cannot protect himself, it is Belle who knocks Gaston into the air, into the water, into the River of Souls, and damns him to an eternity of being lost and tormented. And it doesn't even count. Because it was supposed to be Gold who damned Gaston forever, but it was Belle. So her unborn child still belongs to Hades. Emma Swan is having dreams that quickly reveal themselves to be prophetic visions, something she's never exhibited before. And a storm hits, a twister. And Emma knows, thanks to her prophetic visions, that a terrible beast will be brought forth by this storm. And a terrible beast it is. A big, bad wolf. It's Ruby. Hi, Ruby! Love you, baby. Where's Ruby been? Kicking it in Oz with Dorothy and Mulan. Now, maybe I just don't understand how one travels from the Enchanted Forest to Oz, because they are different dimensions. You can't just accidentally walk into, right? I don't know anymore. Ruby and Mulan were there in Oz when Zelena was banished back to Oz by Regina at the end of the Dark Swan arc, and they run into Dorothy and Toto, who is still a regular dog, don't worry about it, and they all go in to figure out what's happening together as a little unit. Zelena finds them first and steals Toto as leverage, so Dorothy will give her the magic silver shoes and she can get back to her baby. Dorothy says, no, you can't have my shoes. Also, please give me my dog back. And Zelena runs off with Toto. In their efforts to get Toto back, Mulan starts to brew up a sleeping potion, and Ruby and Dorothy go on a very tense walk full of a lot of eye contact. They talk about both feeling estranged from their communities, feeling like there's something missing in their lives that they've just never quite been able to find. Ruby does the thing that I fucking hate in media, where someone's like, I'm gonna give you a nickname right now, and then that's what I'm gonna call you from now on. Ruby calls Dorothy Kansas, and Dorothy calls Ruby Wolfie. They're very cute.
How about Kansas?
All right, Wolfie. Kansas it is.
Ruby is forced to go wolf mode to carry Dorothy to safety away from a bunch of flying monkeys, and she interprets the facial expression that Dorothy makes after the fact as fear and uncertainty and, oh my God, this girl's a wolf and I can't be around her, which is crazy, because I looked at Dorothy and I thought, that girl is having 4 revelations at once. She might just need a second. Ruby realizes that night that she's already got it bad for Dorothy, just right away. And Mulan encourages Ruby to not keep those feelings secret, to not repeat Mulan's mistakes and wait too long until you've missed your chance. So Ruby runs off to tell Dorothy and lay it all out on the table, but Dorothy's gone. Vanished into the night, she snuck off on her own to face Zelena. Her solo encounter with Zelena doesn't go great. Dorothy ends up sleeping cursed. Uh-oh! Ruby runs to the underworld to look for Dorothy's Auntie Em, the only family that didn't turn away from her after she got back from Oz and started spouting stories about, little metal men and green witches and things. It's very, Alice in Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. They got back from their child adventure and they told everybody about it, and everybody went, we've been looking into professional medical help for you. Except for Auntie Em. So that's who we're looking for. Hades promises Zelena that he'll take care of Ruby for her because he knows how much she hates that Dorothy character and how much she wouldn't want Ruby to succeed in waking her up. Regina also finds Zelena and convinces her to search for redemption. Convinces her to help him out here. Zelena just hands over the silver slippers. She was going to use them to just leave now with her baby and cut her losses, but one pep talk from Regina has her folding. Regina, Ruby, Snow, and Emma find Auntie Em working at a different diner, not the one that the Blind Witch runs that they've been going to at least once an episode since they got to hell, just a different one, and they hand her a little bottle to blow a kiss into, so that kiss can hopefully be very carefully transported back to Oz and deposited upon Dorothy Gale. But Hades gave them a bottle with water from the River of Souls in it, and when Auntie Em opens the little bottle to blow a kiss into it, she melts into a puddle instantly, just all at once. Somehow, and Hades mops her up with a paper towel. So that's not gonna work. And Hades uses it as like a show of strength, saying this is what will happen to anyone that accepts Team Hero's help. Who wants their help now? Do you still want to move on to a better place? Snow White realizes what's going on here with Ruby, one of her oldest and dearest friends, and convinces her that Dorothy's only shot is Ruby. Ruby's gonna have to be brave and kiss that girl and hope it's enough. At the same time, David has gotten Hook to scratch Snow White's name off that tombstone in the cemetery that Hades made to curse her into being trapped here forever. You remember the tombstones. Replacing her name with David's. And his handwriting is really something to behold. I know he did it with his hook, but truly, wow. So now David is trapped here and Snow is technically free to leave. Ruby puts on those silver slippers and she's going to take herself and Snow to Oz and then get Snow White home to Storybrooke because the Charmings have been freaking out about being away from baby Neil all arc, and I just haven't been talking about it because I don't care. Ruby does get herself and Snow to Oz. She does kiss Dorothy. It is true love's kiss, and the two of them happily make out in front of all the Munchkins and Snow White and Mulan, and they live happily ever after. And that is the last time we'll ever see Ruby, Dorothy, or Mulan. I'm in hell. Why are they stealing them from me? The moment we get canon sapphic relationship. Stolen! You know what, though? At no point in any of the events I just described did anyone even mention that Ruby and Dorothy are both girls. Not to be like, that's weird, or not to be like, that's brave. Not at all. Just, yeah, Ruby fell in love with Dorothy. Oh no, Dorothy might not feel the same. That was it. Yes! I hate that that's my bar. Also, Belle and Zelena have themselves a heart-to-heart about loving terrible, monstrous men and thinking you can change them. Belle pleads with Zelena to try and get Hades to get her out of this contract. Mother to mother. And Zelena says she'll try, but she also gives Belle another angle. Belle goes to Gold with a full plan. She's afraid of Hades doing something similar to what Emma did back in Storybrooke to Zelena and speeding up her pregnancy, just stealing her baby whenever he chooses. She's afraid they won't find a way out of this contract in time. She's afraid they won't find a way out of this contract at all. She's very afraid. So she's going to put herself and her pregnancy on pause. Belle is going to sleeping curse herself, and Gold won't be able to wake her up. Belle doesn't love him like that anymore. She doesn't trust him, and quite frankly, he might not love her like that and trust her either. So once she's under until Gold can deliver her to her father and convince him to wake her up. And then she just does it. No empty threats, just a well-executed plan. Hell yes. Absolutely. Hell yes. I hope the nightmare dimension treats her well. Also, in case you're keeping track, that is one member of Team Hero that we've successfully gotten out of hell, and they let it be Snow White. The 13-year-old is still here. In case you were wondering, they let the grown woman leave and left the 13-year-old. That's fine. I definitely believe you all care about Henry. Hades takes Zelena for a drive to a little random field where he gets on his knees and asks her to be his partner in chaos, which is a little bit forward. He wants to get his heart restored through true love's kiss and go run amok in the real world. Also, now he did put all of Team Hero's names on tombstones, which he should have just done to start with. Idiot. So glad the 13-year-old is still here. Regina learns that Zelena and Hades are potentially canoodling again, and her solution is to get Cora. Don't do that. Hooks brings Cora from her Miller's daughter prison, and they get her caught up with the whole her eldest daughter had a thing with the Greek god of the underworld right away. Cora's plan is to brew up a forgetting potion, my least favorite plot device in all of Once Upon a Time, and tricks Zelena into drinking it so she forgets that Hades even exists. Which personally, I would assume Hades has the power to reverse that if he were to check on his girlfriend and she doesn't know who he is. But I guess I can't say that for sure. Zelena does not drink the forgetting potion. Cora tries to engineer a situation specifically designed to trigger all of Zelena's mommy issues at maximum power, but it isn't enough. Zelena sees through the lie. She realizes that Regina's skulking around the corner and that Cora would literally never be this nice to her or anyone for any reason, and she discards the potion that her mother was trying to pass off as harmless water. Regina and Zelena start fighting, so Cora restores memories that she stole from them as children, because she loves yoinking memories. Regina and Zelena did meet as children when Cora needed Zelena for something. It truly doesn't matter what. What matters is that the girls realized they were sisters, and they were so excited, so happy, and Cora was really grossed out by that clear sign of weakness, stole their memories, and sent Zelena back to her abusive father in Oz. Because of course she did. It's Cora. And this was Cora's unfinished business. Her failed relationship with her daughters and their failed relationship with each other. And now that that's all been restored, Cora gets to go to heaven? No, I don't think she does. Put her back. I made little yellow circles for the guys that are dead but are in heaven about it. Imagine being Henry Sr. and seeing Cora show up in heaven. I'm throwing hands. Imagine telling Anastasia and Will Scarlet that Cora went to heaven. That all she had to do was watch her daughters hug it out or whatever. I'm beating Regina's ass in a dark alley just to make it fair. Nobody tell Snow. Oh my God, Daniel's in heaven. She ended up in the same place as Daniel? Cora Mills gets to go to heaven. And Mila is in the eternal torment river. I don't think I could have created a plot beat that would trigger a more immediate and all-consuming anger in myself than Cora Mills goes to heaven. No, she does not. No, she does not. And yet, this kind of shit is why I prefer the Underworld arc to the Dark Swan arc. Because at least I'm feeling brand new emotions heretofore undiscovered by humanity. Dark Swan arc, I was bored. Regina tells Zelena to go ahead and try to fix Hades. That's gonna go well. That I can fix him mindset has such a low success rate in this show, I feel. But when Zelena goes to meet Hades at the diner for their date, she gets kidnapped. Who would dare kidnap the Wicked Witch of the West? Who would have reason? Rumpelstiltskin, of course. She gave Belle that sleeping curse, and he's pissed about it. And great news, he brought his dad. Peter Pan is here, kidnapping the Wicked Witch of the West. Also, David kills his evil twin. James tries to steal Zelina's baby. It's a whole thing. James hates David so bad because David got to grow up with a mom that loved him. Mommy issues. It's always mommy issues. And so David throws him into the River of Souls. The Eternal Torment River. But Cora gets to go to heaven. Not that I'm saying James Charming was a good person who should have gone to heaven. But if we're ranking them based on their lived experiences, James Charming was doing perfectly fine in purgatory. And I think we should have just let him stay there. There's a whole flashback about how Emma Swan became a bail bonds person, and it's so deeply boring, it's crazy. But there's one thing about it that brings me unending delight. And that is that there is a full superhero origin story, a full MCU little explainer for Emma's red jacket. Like, you see her finding it in a store. The music swells. She comments on it becoming her armor, how it reminds her of a mentor figure that she just lost in that same flashback. It's so silly. I'm obsessed with it. The only thing that matters from that entire 20-minute flashback sequence is a superhero origin story for her jacket. Of all the things I didn't need.
Hey, could you ring this up for me?
Sure. Of course.
I gotta get to work.
Okay, so Zelina got kidnapped, and Hades goes to Team Hero and asks for their help. Dude, that's really sad. That's really sad of you to do. Team Hero agrees, because they're good people, as long as Hades untombstones them at the end, untraps them. They can all leave if they get his Zelina back. Hades rips up the contract for Gold's second child, because that's what Gold is demanding of him in order to get Zelina back, and Belle's baby is free. Will be born a free man. We love to hear it. She is asleep right now, so she can't celebrate that, but I'm sure she will someday. And it's a good thing that Emma Swan is working with the King of Hell right now, because as soon as he rips up that contract and they're like, oh, you can have Zelina back, Peter Pan goes to steal Zelina's heart right as that trade occurs, because they didn't say they'd give Zelina's heart back. And Pan needs a living heart, you see, so he can be alive again and go back to the real world and be a problem. But it seems like Hell's been pretty okay for him. I haven't seen anything that implies that he isn't having just a fine time. I don't know why he wants to leave, so he can't go back to Neverland. Emma stops Pan from stealing Zelina's heart. Pan poofs away for his own safety, and Hades and Zelina share their first ever kiss. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is true love's kiss. Hades' heart is beating. He can leave the underworld. He's left it before, but now he can leave it extra. I don't know. They can all leave the underworld. Well, except for the pirate. He's down here because he died fair and square. Unless, Hades tells them, unless they can get ambrosia for Hook, the way that Orpheus and Eurydice escaped hell, according to a long-lost rumor. And I almost lost my mind thinking that Emma Swan was about to be an Orpheus stand-in, and I'm so devastated to tell you that will not be the case. But I think they should have done it. Hook and Emma have to descend into the ambrosia tunnel or whatever, and Emma will have to put her heart to the test. And maybe they can save Hook for good. Hades even helpfully removes Emma's heart for her. Puts it in a cute little bag so she has easy access. While they're doing that, Henry decides to use his author powers to record the stories of as many souls as possible to inform people of what their unfinished business truly is. Most people don't know why they're stuck here, so there's very little chance for them to ever move on. One of those souls is, and I'm not joking, Stealthy, the 8th dwarf. Stealthy, the 8th dwarf from season 1. Did you forget Stealthy? I didn't forget Stealthy. Seeing Stealthy here had me rolling. I forgot how obsessed I was with the show just dropping Stealthy the Eighth Dwarf on me, and I'm forever grateful that they brought all that back to the surface, even just for a short time. But in the background, Cruella is declaring herself the new ruler of the underworld, even though Hades has not left yet, and she and the blind witch trap Team Hero in the library. And Regina can't break the spell, which is odd, because the blind witch is not that powerful, because it isn't the blind witch's spell. It's Hades's. Hades and Zelena and Babyhood are waiting in the cemetery for the portal to the overworld to open, waiting patiently for all the heroes to come join them. Zelena is. Hades is pretending. And as soon as it opens, they peacefully step through. Free from the underworld, Zelena and Hades are out. Emma and Hook face a trial. Emma has to prove that she loves Hook more than herself by saving him from being on fire, even while her own heart is in extreme pain on the little scale she set it on, which she does. She saves Hook, and they reach the Ambrosia Room. I feel like this is the first time Emma's done something in the plot in so long. Missed you, lady. We should hang out more. There is no ambrosia in the Ambrosia Room. The ambrosia tree was cut down a long, long time ago. Hades sent them down here knowing they had no way to save Hook. Hook tells Emma to go back without him. There's nothing they can do to get him home. He's dead. And Emma needs to accept it now. She tried her best, but sometimes that's not enough. Death is death. She goes back up the elevator without him, begging him to move on. She will not be his unfinished business. She will not be the thing in his way. And he agrees, as long as she promises not to rebuild all those walls that she just tore down. Emma leaves Hook behind. She helps Regina break the spell trapping them in the library, and though it seems like maybe she won't, she leaves the underworld with the rest of her family. Hook, unable to follow, and fully accepting that. Peter Pan has promised a trinket to his son. He's promised him Pandora's box in return for something so simple. A living heart, if he could. Gold could keep Belle safe in this box, another form of stasis and protection. Also, I guess, why can Pan not get his own living heart? I'm just saying, if you're asking Gold to steal Robin Hood's heart for you, it's way smarter to steal Robin Hood's heart yourself. You have the magical capabilities to do so. And I don't know if you've ever met your son, but he kind of sucks. And so do you, but Gold gives his dad a heart. By which I, of course, mean he gives his dad a bottle of water from the River of Souls, disguised, glamored as a heart. And Peter Pan unknowingly shoves the torture water into his chest and dissolves into a puddle of eternal torture water. And that's that for Peter Pan. Why do they keep giving me my special little guys back? Just to take them away forever again? What have I done wrong? Someone tell Felix, now he's never gonna get to move on. Back in Storybrooke, one of the first things that Hades does, just moments after arriving in the living world, is kill King Arthur. Like, pretty much for no reason, just murders him on a bridge. While Hades is holding Zelena's baby? In the arms of... I lied about being back in Storybrooke. We bounce back to hell real quick, where Arthur is angrily stomping about, furious about being dead. He stomps into the Blind Witch's diner where he finds Hook, and now they're doing a little buddy comedy, searching the underworld for Hades' storybook pages. You remember the ones that Liam stole, so they can get the secrets within back to their friends Topside and hopefully help them get rid of Hades forever. They find the pages and learn that Hades can be killed with the Olympian crystal, an artifact that belonged to Zeus back in the day. And Hades fuses those pages of information with the Underworld Collector's Edition of the storybook, so they will also appear in the regular storybook back Topside, and Emma can have that information and kill Hades. Arthur decides to stay in the underworld because it was his prophesied destiny, you recall, to heal a broken kingdom. And while he's always thought that it was supposed to be Camelot, he now believes it was the underworld all along. Hook, however, passes on to someplace better, where he meets the worst casting for Zeus I have ever seen. This is not Zeus. This is Hermes at best, not my cat Hermes. You know who I meant. Who is this little man? He's a perfectly acceptable little man, but he's not Zeus. Zeus thanks Hook and offers him a reward. We'll get back to that later, but there's some shit going on in Storybook right now we gotta get to first. Team Hero tries to explain to Zelena that actually Hades is still a bad guy. He tried to trap them all in the underworld forever, but Zelena is blinded by how bad she wants to fix that man. She tries to convince Hades to leave Storybrooke with her, to take the baby and run off somewhere safe, anywhere else, where they can just be happy. Because the people here will never trust either of them, not after the things they've done. And so Hades hits her with the, of course they won't trust us. We need to do a big show of power and scare them instead. And then live here forever. And also look at this cool Olympian crystal I have. Gold goes to Mo French, Belle's florist father, asking for him to please, please, please wake up Belle, please, please. And Mo says absolutely not, because if Belle were to wake up right now, she would be right back in Gold's clutches, and he cannot do that to her. He will wake Belle up from her sleeping cursed slumber once Gold promises to leave her alone forever and never interfere with her life again. Gold lashes out by threatening to beat Mo with his cane again, refusing to help Emma with her Hades problem, and trying to offer Hades his own protection in exchange for the Olympian crystal, which Hades obviously declines. It's a terrible deal. You're losing your edge, sir. Emma tries to just break into the town hall where Zelena and Hades are sequestered. Brute force. She's grieving. She's not making good choices. And Zelena runs out to yell at her for making bad choices. Robin and Regina, however, sneak in through some tunnels and get their hands on baby Hood to try and at least, get her somewhere else. Get her to safety. Hades catches them and tries to kill Regina with his Olympian crystal. If you get killed by the Olympian crystal, fun fact, you die in real life. No, you don't get to go to the underworld. You don't go somewhere better or worse. You go nowhere. No afterlife. Complete erasure. It's like a destruction of soul energy. Hades doesn't kill Regina because Robin Hood pushes her out of the way and he takes the hit for her, just like he did back in Camelot. But this time, there's no way to save him. Robin Hood dies. And he's gone permanently. In the arms of oblivion, fly away. Zelena arrives to this scene. Hades begging her to kill Regina to end this. Regina clearly pointing out that, hey, babe, this man just killed the father of your child. And Zelena realizes that Hades has not changed, will not change, and cannot change. And she Olympian crystals him to death. No arms, no angels. Bye. In their joint mourning, neither sister grabs the Olympian crystal that remains, and Gold sneaks in there later to grab that. Very cool. Slimy little opportunist. Obsessed with him, unfortunately. They have a funeral for Robin Hood. Roland, his very small son, he's gonna live with Little John and the other merry men forever now, presumably, now that he's an orphan. And it's all Zelena's fault. She's orphaned this child. Good news! Zelena has finally chosen a name for her daughter. It's Robin Hood. No, please don't. It's the Neil thing again. They're doing the Neil thing again. Is that how we name babies in this universe? We just name them after the man that most recently died near them? That's confusing. That's weird. There's other names, I promise. Neil Nolan at least has a different last name from Neil Cassidy. Robin Hood is just Robin Hood again, but this one's a girl. I'm gonna start throwing things. Zelena, this is the worst thing you've ever done. Regina should get to slap her at least once for this. Zelena killed Robin Hood's wife. She tricked Robin Hood into sleeping with her and impregnating her under false pretenses. She does not get to name her daughter Robin Hood and pretend it's a sweet tribute. It's not. It's weird. If the show is just gonna replace him with his own daughter with the same name, so am I. It's like he never even existed. He's a baby now. Also, Hook is alive again. Whoa! Zeus just brings him back to life, gives him a fresh, new, living body. Still a hook for a hand, though. And fix that part. Good for him. Good for Emma. This functionally closes up the Underworld arc. There's still a 2-part finale, but it's not really the Underworld arc anymore, and I've got to talk just a little bit more about the Underworld arc. It isn't very good, but my little speculation brain, my little fan fiction brain gets to go crazy about it. So it's perfect to me. There are just so many characters on this board right now that I would have loved to see, that I firmly believe are kicking it in unfinished business land. That we didn't get... I'm gonna find them for you. Listen, I can't prove that Philip is dead. Him being dead would support the we only name babies after the men that most recently died next to them, because Philip and Aurora's son is named Philip. I could see him actually not having any unfinished business at all. I don't think Prince Philip had like an inner world or really any thoughts. So if he is dead, he did probably move on right away. That's fine. This pile is new Robin Hood, old Robin Hood, Daniel. All have been addressed. Under the Camelot characters over here, we have the Frozen characters who are not dead, they're fine. We also have Jefferson, who's not dead, he's fine. Him and his daughter are off living their best life, presumably not in Storybrooke anymore. I bet they are in New York City. Truly, and I hope they're thriving. I don't know if you guys remember who's under Neil Nolan up there, but it's Felix. Would have loved to dig Felix out of there again. That's fine, I've talked about him enough. If we are also still talking about season 2, under this pile, both of these piles actually way down under there, we have Greg and Tamara back from season 2 and the very, very beginning of season 3 before they got super killed in Neverland. Unfinished business out the wazoo. Certainly Greg and Tamara. I would only maybe argue they were in the underworld and Peter Pan killed them as soon as he got down there because they probably did try to confront him, and that would have been really dumb. That would have been really super dumb of them to do. Would have been super funny to see them though, I think. You know who else is under Merida? I put Merida there without even mentioning who I was covering up because I hate him that bad, is Isaac Heller, the last author. Also, unfinished business out the wazoo. I'm not necessarily sad that we didn't see him. I do think it would have been a little funny. The only other one that I'm genuinely sad we didn't get to see is the man who's been hiding under Captain Hook since season 2, which is, of course, Sheriff Graham, played by Jamie Dornan, the huntsman. He's been under there the whole time. Do you see him? There he is. I just think he probably also would have ended up stuck in purgatory. I guess I'm a little glad that he didn't, because I think Cruella would have been super weird to him. Like maybe just the weirdest anyone's ever been. And I'm glad he didn't have to deal with that. But how fun would it have been, huh? See Jamie Dornan in Once Upon a Time Again post 50 Shades trilogy. I think it would have been fun. Give him to me for half an episode. Come on. Anyway, that's the Underworld arc. Let's do the 2-part finale. 2-part finale. 2-part finale. I didn't like this 2-part finale. After how much I loved the season 4 2-part finale big event, I was really let down by this one. Gold grabbed the Olympian crystal after Hades died, and he's got a big fun plan for it. He's going to tether all of Storybrooke's magic to the crystal and get even extra powerful, because it's not enough to be every dark one ever at the same time. And he's going to use all that power to wake up his wife. That's got to be overkill. It's simply got to be. You need every ounce of magic that exists in this dimension. I don't believe you. He doesn't get to do it, though, because Henry is plot relevant again. Henry has decided that the real villain here is the existence of magic itself. If magic is gone, his family might finally be happy for once. So, with Violet at his side, remember Violet? Henry abuses his author powers. He writes in his magic book that Henry has the Olympian crystal, and now Henry has the Olympian crystal. Henry has devised a plan called Operation Mixtape, where basically he and Violet are gonna run away to New York City, look through Neil's old research, as Neil was a famous hater of magic, and see if they can find a way to destroy all magic as they have it contained in this crystal. They have all magic in one place. Surely it is now easy to destroy. Henry texts both his moms that he's leaving, but doesn't tell them where he's going. Gold shows up to tell Team Hero that Henry's probably going to try to destroy magic, and they probably shouldn't let him do that, because Storybrooke is literally made of magic, and he would be erasing Storybrooke forever if he succeeds. Henry didn't know that part. He didn't think about that. So, the team splits up. Gold goes off on his own, of course, but actually what he's doing is keeping quiet, invisible tabs on Emma and Regina, who are going on another road trip. I do think we should have a Swan Queen road trip at least once a season. So I am glad it's happening again. Emma originally doesn't want Regina to come because she's deep in grief and not making ideal choices, and pissed that Emma gets to keep her boyfriend while Regina is once again losing everything. But off they go. They track Henry's phone to Boston, but it was a ruse. Henry ditched his phone on a bus that was heading to Boston while he and Violet took a bus to New York City. Emma and Regina also realized that their magic works even outside of Storybrooke, because Henry has removed the magic from Storybrooke and brought it into the world at large, which means Regina can do a little gross blood magic spell to track Henry to New York City, which also means Gold's magic works out here as well. New York City, watch out! Henry and Violet breeze through Neil's old apartment. Yes, they are still just allowed to do that and have not explained why Neil's old apartment is just a visitable location. And then they go to the library. They're really just having a cute little city date. They're having a great time. At the library, Henry and Violet find a bunch of other storybooks full of other stories that Henry doesn't recognize, as well as a black version of the Holy Grail. It's the Holy Grail, but evil. The unholy Grail. And the Holy Grail is the source of all magic. So this unholy Grail might be the way to destroy all magic. Yeah, man, why not? Henry pockets that. Gold finds the children and magics them to sleep so he can grab the crystal and slip away. Also casually stripping Emma and Regina of their powers from a distance. Didn't know he had the ability to do that. And he goes to a hotel room to try and get his wife out of a box and get her back. Emma and Regina are not having a good day. They also hit up Neil's old apartment, which is also Robin Hood's old apartment, so they're both having a bad time. Regina finds a letter that Robin wrote to her but never sent while he was living here with Roland and Maid Marian. A letter tucked into a book of old Robin Hood stories that she got for him. It's a letter about how good and brave and strong Regina is, how in love with her he was. And she's actually not in an emotional place to receive that right now. Regina tells Emma that she wishes she could just be the evil queen again, because her life has fundamentally gotten worse ever since she started trying to be a good person. She just wishes that she didn't even care anymore because it was so much easier. But now she's living cursed with the knowledge of the difference between good and evil, and if she was to try and go back to things being easy, uncomplicated, and evil, she would lose everything. She would lose everyone that she loves, and then she looks at Emma for like a really long time. She'd lose Henry, she'd lose her friends. And then they find their son passed out in a library. So it's just worse and worse, really. Henry's okay. Don't worry about it. Also, Violet's fine, if you cared. And Storybrooke got weird too. Zelena opened a portal with the apprentice's wand, that light magic wand, to send Merida, hey, remember Merida? Back to the Enchanted Forest, along with everyone from Camelot, including Guinevere over there, who's not brainwashed anymore, I don't think. And all the merry men, including Roland. Yes, they are sending all of the people of Camelot back to Camelot right now while Violet is in New York City. They are doing that. But after everybody who's supposed to goes through the portal goes all strong and silly, and it pulls Zelena inside. And not only Zelena, Snow White and David and Hook. And they're all transported to a brand new land. And the apprentice's wand broke about it, snapped in half. So there's no way back. They come across a frightened little man and an angry orderly. The orderly knocks him out and locks him in a silly-looking cage. And they wake up to meet the Warden, a man who has more sideburns than face. The Warden despises the Dark One, and as much as they all try to convince him that they also hate that guy, boo, Dark One, the Warden keeps them locked up. The frightened little man comes back for them later, saying he can fix the apprentice's wand if they hand it over, as long as Team Hero promises to bring him back to Storybrooke with them when they're free, which sounds like an obvious lie, but it isn't. Somehow, Zelena hands the snapped wand over, and the little man fixes the wand, but he's discovered by the orderly, who grapples the little man and pours a potion down his throat, turning the little man into the mean Warden. Yes, it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Hyde does throw the orderly across the room for daring to hurt Jekyll. I love that as a dynamic. Very, no one hurts him except me. No one else deserves to put their hands on him. Very strong. Hyde uses the apprentice's fixed wand to make a little portal directly to New York City. It's very small, not small enough to fit through, just big enough to pull a tiny box through into this new realm. It's a little steampunk box. It's Pandora's box. He steals Belle. Right before Gold gets her out of the box, Hyde's got Belle. He's going to use Belle as leverage to get Gold to do what he wants. Jekyll reawakens in a straitjacket, but he gets back to Team Hero and lets them out of their cage, happily telling them that he did fix the wand, but the Warden has it, so they need to do something else now. Jekyll takes them out on the town, introducing them all to the land of untold stories. That's where we are. We're in the land of untold stories, a place where all characters from all realms can flee to, a refuge for those escaping conflict. And then Jekyll takes the crew to his old apartment to use a serum he's got that will separate the good and evil in a person, making them two separate living entities. A nightmare of a serum. No normal person would think that's a good idea, to have a serum that can do that. And before he can use it, the orderly bursts in and forces Jekyll to transform into Hyde, making it very clear to the Charmings what story these bitches are from. Hyde runs off with the orderly to take the serum in peace, pulling Jekyll out of himself. They spend a single moment being cordial, and then Hyde starts choking Jekyll to death. Just can't help himself, I guess. Team Hero bursts in, they kill the orderly, but they leave Hyde unconscious. Could have really solved a lot of problems before they started here, but they just leave Hyde there and they scamper off. Back in New York, Gold is doing magic spells so big there's an actual purple storm cloud above the hotel he's staying in. Very subtle. Your enemies will never find you. Emma and Regina learn about the whole both of their families got sucked into a portal to who knows where thing, and so now they got even more reason to get their magic back from Gold and to do it smart. They send Regina in alone first, offering her help in getting Belle back, playing up that the heroes got Zelena portaled off somewhere and she isn't willing to lose anything else. Regina and Gold drink together, catching each other up on their respective plot points, while Emma sneaks in to try and grab the crystal because they're stupid and they didn't think Gold would notice. He does. He notices. He was just playing along to get some of Regina's hair so he could use her DNA to find Zelena, because they're half sisters and they have some matching DNA, and then bingo bongo find his wife, who's presumably in the same dimension as Zelena. He believes. Gold tries to then incinerate Regina with a fireball. Just imagine if that worked. If they just killed Regina right then and there. No, Henry bursts in and uses the unholy grail to absorb the fireball magic and also the Olympian crystal. So now there's no more magic. Henry has destroyed magic in this realm successfully. No more magic can hurt his moms. No more magic can ruin their lives. No more magic can save his grandparents from whatever realm they're trapped in. No more magic can retrieve Belle. No more magic can save Storybrooke, where it's presumably collapsing off screen. Yeah, good job, kid. You maybe didn't think this one through. So now we need to get magic back without access to magic. Henry goes to sulk at the fountain that he and Emma would visit during that year that they just lived, the two of them, in New York City. God, no wonder he wanted to get rid of magic. Honestly, he's got an intact memory of a full, regular, happy year with his mom. And as soon as he got back to magic, everyone started dying. He literally spent half of the season in hell. His moms took him to hell. My son is not in the wrong here, officer. He's innocent. He's just a boy. Gold takes the gang to visit the dragon. The dragon that got tasered to death by Tamara in season 2. The dragon who will grant your wish for the small price of your most prized possession and 10,000 American dollars. The dragon? Yes, okay, he's alive and in New York. I have a lot of questions about that, none of which will be answered. It's even wilder because the dragon does not and cannot help them here. He shows them a little vision of the team trapped in the land of untold stories and then says he's done all he can. Great, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, man. Also, how did you get here? Why are you on my screen? The secret to bringing magic back to the land without magic is belief and wishes. Henry gets his family to make wishes in that little fountain from earlier, throwing coins into the water and wishing, and it makes the crystal grow just a little. But it isn't enough. So Henry, I hated watching this. This is like maybe my least favorite type of scene ever. Henry gets up in front of a crowd of New Yorkers and insists that magic is real and they all have to believe. And to bring magic back into the world, they all need to make wishes into the fountain together. So a crowd of New Yorkers bands together and they all make wishes on coins and believe in the power of magic and manifestation together. And coins rain down upon the Charmings and Hook and Zelena in the land of untold stories.
Pennies.
Not pennies, David.
Quarters, David. They're the big silver ones. You should know this. Wishes. Yes, wishes. That's what I meant. A portal of water opens, and Snow, David, Zelena, Hook, and Jekyll are all safely brought into New York City, and the people of New York think they all just saw a really good magic trick. Presumably they're all looking for the cameras. Also, this is yet another example of how traveling between dimensions is very fun and easy, and everyone can do it, and no one should spend centuries carefully plotting a way to do it, because that would be stupid. And in hindsight, that guy looks really stupid. Gold slipped through the water portal when no one was looking, because his wife is in there. He makes an unspecified deal with Hyde, because Hyde says he can help wake Belle up, and then they both go back to the land without magic. I'm not actually sure how they go back, but they do, and it's easy, so it's fine. Regina takes the Jekyll and Hyde serum to split herself into her good and evil halves. And I have a lot of questions, because I refuse to believe that we can boil Regina down to this, that she is the good version of herself, and there's an evil queen in there as a separate entity that she can just peel out of her and stay the same. That she's the same person with half of herself walking around somewhere else. I don't believe you. I think she's a little more complicated than that. Regina kills the evil queen, tears out her heart, and dusts her. Maybe it was that easy. They all go back to Storybrooke. Violet is still there. She didn't go back to Camelot because she was in New York City, but the good news is her dad also didn't go back to Camelot because he's not even from Camelot. Violet's father is a Yankee in King Arthur's court. Like the Mark Twain book? What a pull. Why? Violet's still here and her dad's still here. That's what matters. Emma tells Hook that she loves him even though no one's dying or in danger at this moment. Character development. They're getting more functional by the day. Regina untethers magic from the Olympian crystal, so it's all back to normal. Except that Hyde is here. Mr. Hyde is just here, being ominous in the corner, lurking about. But other than that, Storybrooke has been saved. Status quo returned. Nothing else to worry about. But in New York City, in the Dragon's apothecary, or whatever it is he's got now that he's busy being untasered to death, there's a pile of dust on the wind. And the evil queen reforms in New York City, a place that I cannot stress enough has no magic, and yoinks the dragon's heart, ready to go to war.
The queen is back.
Okay. And that's the season. Let's do a roundup? Roundup. Wow. What a season. The ending sure did happen. Let's check the family tree. I know, I didn't drag in a separate whiteboard for this. I'm trying something. Here it is. The main difference that you should notice is that Robin Hood and Robin Hood have both been added now that there is, in fact, a born child, a born named child even. It does mean Regina is on this family tree right up there by her soulmate, and they are not connected. He's connected to her sister. Now, I really do hate that. And I do hate looking at that. Belle and Gold are, of course, connected due to their Christian marriage that they share. They're not divorced yet. I'm actually not sure they would know how to get divorced if they did choose to go that route. I did not add their baby because there is no born baby yet. Once we have a born named baby, I'll put him on then. Other than that, this is pretty much the wreath we know and love, right? Henry being related to Regina in two completely separate ways. That's the same as it's always been. There's still some bitch named Jonathan up in the corner. I really, truly do hate his presence, but I can't do anything about it. Changed my notation for King George again. I think I like this way the best. It was hard to do on the smaller, flatter board that I had before. I think this way makes more sense and incorporates James in a way that makes more sense as well. Not that James matters, especially now that he's a river forever, a sad river for eternity. My family tree related hopes for season 6 is that we get rid of these question marks. We've got two, Charming's dad and Gold's mom, both question marks to me. And also, I guess getting Belle and Gold's baby on there. Ugh, maybe someday we'll even get Hook on the family tree. That could be so exciting. I'm pretty sure he and Emma do get married. They do. They do. There's a musical episode next season, and that's when they get married, and Hook will end up on this board. Let's go! I don't really have anything else to say about the family tree. Let's talk rankings. We have all of our usual end of season categories to discuss. The best outfit of the season, the second best outfit of the season, my top 3 characters of the season, and the loser of the season. Let's begin with outfits. Let's begin with my runner-up. Best outfit is Zelena in Camelot. I don't like the woman, but that seafoam green gown was simply made for her. It's like the exact shade of her eyes. It complements her red hair perfectly. She looked good. She looked really good. I also really like what they did with Dorothy in the second arc there. There was a blue gingham layer to her outfit, reminiscent of the classic Dorothy dress, underneath this sort of more grown-up armored outfit, which I really liked as an interpretation of a Dorothy outfit. I think it worked really well. It looked mature. It was good. It was better than I would have expected for this point of the show. So we can call Dorothy third place if I gave out a third place for this. And I don't. My number one outfit of this season will likely not be surprising, shouldn't be. If you remember really anything I discussed from the first half of this video, my number one outfit of the season is Regina in Camelot. Obviously. That wide neck red dress with the trumpet sleeves, these aren't really trumpet sleeves, the ones that are really wide at the end, it was such a perfect shade of red on her. It was so beautiful on her. I'm obsessed with her. She's the hottest woman in the world. My top 3 characters of the season. We're going to start at number 3 and work our way up. My third place character of the season is Ruby. We will never see her again after this, and she kind of goes out with a bang here. Shows up just to look super hot, fall in true love over the course of one day, and grab her happy ending with both hands. I hope her and her girlfriend are happy forever. And I'll never know if they aren't, so I can just live on assuming they're good until the day I die. Also, I'll be honest, I was not expecting anything resembling a respectful portrayal of a queer relationship on Once Upon a Time. I wasn't expecting it to happen. I was pleasantly surprised. In second place this season, I have Belle French. Because I'm sorry, there's no move that has made me more sport fan adjacent while watching this show than Belle sleeping cursing herself right after scolding Gold and demanding that he bring her to her dad to fix the situation because he's not enough for it anymore. Because you know she knew Mo wasn't going to just like do whatever he said and put her back in the situation she was in again. The French family is taking this one. 0 points for Mr. Gold. That ruled so hard. Sorry about the baby trapping thing, babe. That's not ideal. Hopefully that works out for you in a way that puts you on top next season. I doubt it, but I'm hoping. My number 1 character of the season is Killian Jones, Captain Hook, just for making it to the end. 'Cause my God, man, show writer's favorite punching bag. Next to Regina. Between the two of them, there's no peace to be had. But for him, it was a new level. It really, really was. He died, got dragged back into the land of the living twice, met Zeus about it even, and his girlfriend told him that she loves him even though no one was dying. He's so up right now. Everything is coming up Captain Hook. After absolutely nothing came up Captain Hook for the entire season. It's a real roller coaster for him. I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of him for making it to the end. And it seems like life's gonna be good now, forever, probably. There was a lot of winners, for sure. There had to be a loser. And my biggest loser of the season is Mila. I don't even really think I need to justify this. Imagine being Mila this season. No one has ever lost that hard. A lot of people could have been the loser, for sure. Robin Hood lost super hard. Hades sucked the whole time and lost super hard. Peter Pan lost super hard. Zelina lost pretty hard even, but Mila got violated by the plot here. I can't believe they did this to her. She didn't even get to see Hook again. She just had to try and grapple with Emma's existence and then got pushed into the eternal torture river by her ex-husband who she hates for nothing, for no reason. She'll never see Balefire again. I just truly can't believe it. And that's all I have for you. Next season, we'll deal with whatever the hell the finale left us with. 2 Reginas, I guess, and Jekyll and Hyde. Why not? Next season is also the last, what I would call regular season of Once Upon a Time. Season 7 is really something all its own. And next season has the musical episode, so we do have something to look forward to. But I've literally never felt so much dread about a season of television. I just can't believe they kept making the dang show. One last shout out to our sponsor for the video, StartPlaying.Games. Go start playing Dungeons & Dragons. If you want to listen to me play a bunch of Dungeons & Dragons and a bunch of not Dungeons & Dragons, catch me on Unprepared Casters, my TTRPG show I've hosted for nearly 4 years now. It's my love, my baby, my light. I know you like watching me on YouTube. You can watch me on YouTube over there as well. Just playing some games with some other people who I adore.
This game involves a lot of pulling and replacing tumbling bricks on the tumbling brick game tower.
We are testing our pull-out game.
Yep. And yes, and
I, of course, could not do any of this nonsense without the support of my patrons, who are all so wonderful and provide excellent feedback during that phase of video production where I just throw them half of the video and go, so what do we think about all that? Patrons such as Alcyon Hero, Annie G, Autumn Vector, Blardy Har, Britty, Chatty C, Esme Behart, Gwynerick, Heather Reed, Joshua Caliendo, Catherine Kazran, Non-Toxic Ivy, Rue, Vesper Sinclair, Zachary Fly, Zebby Lown, Aaliyah, Abalab, Abigail DeCourt, Aiden Cassis the Stronger, Aiden Sowood the Notoriously Low Roller, Amy Ernst, AJ Holian, Akadoroku, Albondi Gyoza, Ali XX, Alex, Elsa Dragon, Amalia, Ams, Anemone, Anastasia, Anja, Anna Elise, Anna, Annie Teller, Archie Archer Tang, Argentum Inc., Ariana Collier, Artemis Nix, Arthur Murphy, Ashley Figura, Aurelium, Avery Jack Thayer, Avery Little, Exerces, Azure, Babbity Kate, Bought a Kid, Beard Knowledge, Becca B, Beck, Bed Knobs and Bookshelves, B, Bees, Bethany Draws Art, Blaine Belshie, Blake Stewart, Bobby Banner, Boop, Box of Cherubs, Brain Boy, Bridget Quinlivan, Burning Box, Caleb, Kamachu, Cami, Caroline Odin, Cass Carter, Casper Hope Tyndall, Cat in a Skin Suit, Celestia Storm Battle, Celt Code, Cerulia, Chris Custe, Chronic Escapee, Claire Online, Clara Oswald Fan 23, Clemens Slime, Clever Name, Cloud and Mercury, Connor Robinson, Connie, Corey Cat, Christy, Danny B, Danny Sprague, Danielle Tiefke, Decayed Robot in a Green Field, Declan Roof, Deals, Delaney, Devin Ellert, Devin Meskill, Digimaniac 33, Ditto, Drake Elysium, M, Embers, Emma B, Emma Kennedy, Emma Stewart, NB Ennui, Eric Banks, Aaron Rumsey, Ethan Figgins, Evan Linden, Evil Scrump, Far Out Wonder, Felice R, Fletcher Sanderson, Flub, Foolery with Nori, Funky Elvis Monkey, Finch R, Gabriel Learbag, Giant, Godzilla Food, Gracie Nonos, Graham Harrison, Gregory Wise, Gray Does Things and Stuff, Grimbus, Gun Gilf, Hale, Haley Walker, Hannah Anderson, Hannah Jeffrey, Harley, Harper Hex, Haven 2010, Henry, Herman Rosario, Hey Meg's Here, Holly May, Houston Little John, Idiot Lesbian, Infinity Girl, Insane in the Brain, I Ship Genfix, It's a Secret, Izzy Alexander, JV, Jawman02, Jackie, Jacob Chisholm, James Summers, Jamie, Jasmine, Jax on the Box, Jay Ochoa, Jane, Jenny Fosnacht, Jenny Waboom, Jericho, Jester of the Rat Court, Jet, G-Dem, Joanna Wyrick, Jonah Levin, Jordan Brower, Jubilee, Julia S., Juliana Backer, Julie Stonky, Kate, KJ, Kevo Conrad, Kat Bridget Nelson, Kate Levia, Kathleen, Catherine Hill, Kelsey Rodriguez, Kirby.jpg, Keverlyn C., King Panda, Kitty Kitty Large Paws, Kyle Richardson, Lady Dawn, Lady Jessica, Lady of Autumn, Lawson, Lee Z's, Lemon, Lexi Scott, Libby, Lily, Lisa Spitalowitz, Lizzie Gale, Logan, Lucy Schneider, Luca M, Lydia Galarnu, Maya Faranis, Manny S, Marcel Barth, Mary R, Matt Ross, Matt Dam, Matt Mobes, Max Roth, May, Meg, Michael Holmes, Michael West, Midnight Rose, $1 Million Cheese Wheel, Minnie's Mayhem, Mitchum Ditchum, Mo Spooky, Molly Early, Molly McDade, Moon Noodles, Moss Rose, Murph Wazir, Nick the Brick, Noah, Non-Existent Mountains Theory, Nora H, Nick Snacks, Alethea, Olive, Oliver Ryburn, Onyx Claw the Archdruid, Opossum Mom, Oski the Bard, Otter Nonsense, Paige, Papa Midnight, Pete Alexander, Philip Dameron, Fix, Phoenix, Poblato, Poetic Cinema, Poorly, Flesh Skeleton, Prettiest Bearded Lady, Quintanamo Bay, Rainbow Namja, Rat Scratch, Raven Ray, Razin, Rebecca Dawn, Reed Brody, Ren, Robin Eckberg, Roman Landslide, Ricky Baby, Rosemary Finch, Rowan C, Rat King, Ryan Hlakovic, Sagely Sapphic, Samantha Altholes, Sapphicus Finch, Sarah Stuckey, Sarah Sunshine, Sea Bass of the Sea, Simon Says, Simran, Site 42, Sky McQuinley, Space Battery, Spartan Warrior, Spapples, Steen, Steph Bell, Stevie U, Sunny Stolstice, Supercalifragilistic Existential Crisis, Sphere E, Sydney, Silas S. Taylor Burke, Tex the Gentle Giant, The Loosiest Fruit, The Plum Satyr, The Wizard C. The Adorable Coco, Thomas Guzzo, TJ Dash, Toby Springer, Tommy Peterson, Trizadale, Ty, Unusual Willie, Your Mom, Val Hallen, Vanessa Johnson, Vanilla Zucker, Via Name, Vunks, Weather Waxes, Wes, Will, Wood, Woody Daniel, Ren, Xander, Yes Chef, Yizne, Ngve Leo, Zachary Wayman, Zane, and Zaphod, Sam, as well as every other name you saw scrolling past. Thank you so, so much. I mean it that I couldn't do this without you. Love you all dearly, and I will see you next time. It's possible that I'm starting to regret the task I've created for myself. I do not ever want to watch season 7 of Once Upon a Time. But much like Sisyphus, I must imagine myself happy in my toils.